Okay, here I am. There we go. Okay, now I am live. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Really great to be here. We are, as of yesterday, 1 year old. So, a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this video is a bit of a retrospective journey through some of my favorite. Oh, let me stop that. There we go. Okay. So, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is a bit of a retrospective journey through some of what we've done on this channel in the last year. As of yesterday, we had our 1 year anniversary on the day of Pentecost, no less. So maybe that was sort of an interesting synchronicity. But again, I've had this channel for a year. It's been 1 year since I posted my first video on YouTube. So this channel is officially 1 year old as of yesterday. So 1 year and 1 day old. Now, I have pinned a comment. So if anyone wants to join, you're welcome to join. I want to go through some of the comments that are posted already. Let's go through some of them. Give the Gospel of Jesus says, happy anniversary. We'll try to come back and listen. We would love that. And you're welcome to join the chat. Small Hat says, hello. I think this is the person commented on my channel for the first time as of maybe 1 or 2 days ago. So thanks very much for being a recent member of the community. We really appreciate that. Kajek, who's a longtime panelist on our channel and a very skeptical voice, really holding my feet to the fire, says, hey, Tavo, kudos. Really appreciate that as well. I'll highlight my own comment, which says, if you want to join this chat, please use this link. This is the StreamYard link. And here's the video we're going to be talking about. I recently appeared on a channel called Facts with Stephen Boyce. So if you want to check out that video, I would really love that. Please feel free to check that out. So, and I'm going to spend the rest of the time kind of going through what I think are my favorite videos that we've done in the last year and talking about those. And let me make sure there's, oh, Kajek is here actually. All right. So I'm going to add Kajek to the stage. I guess I have 2 levels. So Kajek we should be hearing your voice soon. And as you're getting online, I'll just show one more comment from Chronicle 33-P1V. Chronicle, hey, what's up? I know you've tried to debate me a few times. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I think each time we've tried, we've had some technical issue and your audio hasn't worked. So I apologize for that. And just as a reminder, if you want to debate me and then you call in and you don't say anything, that counts as a win. It counts as a win. So, and Kajek, I can't hear you yet, so that counts as me winning against you now in this conversation as well. All right, great. Give the Gospel says back to listen. A Christian says much love to all. A Christian 11. I've seen you before, Christian 11. We're really glad to have you here. And yeah, I'm going to highlight some of my videos, but Kajek, if you got anything else that you want to say, like feel free to like chime in about any of these videos.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was totally kidding. Yeah.
Oh, you got me. Oh, wow, you got me again. Yeah, I think you're a fascinating YouTube channel. I think you're really interesting and personable, Tavo. I think you're great.
That's really kind of you to say, Kajek. You know, you've disagreed with a lot that we've said in the past, but I think if you can't have an interesting conversation with someone that you disagree with, then what are you doing in a public forum?
Exactly. What are you going to do? Talk about the weather?
I'm happy to talk about the weather. We got some weather here, so we can talk about that. Yeah.
Never.
Okay.
Never with you, Tavo.
Well, Chronicle says you're funny, but I know you can't win. Oh, well, yeah, we'll hop on. Again, Chronicle, you are very welcome to join the conversation as well. Hey, so did you see the channel, the video? Let me add this picture to the stage. So I know you know the CTF argument. Did you happen to see the video that we posted with on Facts with Stephen Boyce?
No, I did not. Sorry to say.
Yeah, that was fun. It's in the pinned comment, so I would encourage you to check that out, as well as members of the community. 21st Century Apologist, 21st Century Apologetics, longtime friend of the channel. And I think Max joined too. So Max, I'll let you in right now. I'll add you there. Don't trust you. You kiss scholastic asses no matter what evidence is introduced, if you even allowed the evidence to be introduced. Well, I mean, Well, let's talk about my trustworthiness, because I do want to apologize. I know 21st Century Apologetics has a really great channel. I would encourage you all to check out his channel. I know he and I disagree on some stuff. In some cases, the disagreement is because I don't have. Well, KJ, let me ask you this: are you familiar with his argument about pi? Do you know about that, KJ?
About the numerical sim.
Yeah, 3.1415927, etc.
Enlighten. Can you remind me?
He mapped out pi in a specific graphical format where he starts with a number 3 and he goes 1, 4, and he does it in sort of a spiral number. And actually, I think I take that back. I think he starts with a number 1, which is the first number after the decimal sign. Anyways, if you're not familiar with that, you should check out that video as well. We had a really good conversation about it.
Could you give it to me in a few words?
His argument was he basically turned pi into he mapped it out, right? Starting at the central number of 1. I think he started with 1, not 3, and then in a spiral. So if you go 1 to the left, it's then 4, 1 up, 1 over 5, and you keep going. You spirally map all the first 200 digits of pi. You can map it in a big square, which is essentially like a big spiral, and the corner numbers turn out to be 3, 1, 4. And he uses some of these graphical interesting properties of pi when it's depicted in this format specifically to make an argument that there's a God. I find it to be a fascinating and interesting argument. I've really tried to wrestle with it for a while, but there is a mathematical level of complexity to determining whether this is pareidolia or if it isn't. That I don't think if I made a video about it that I could argue against it. So he has a valid point. I haven't thoroughly represented his argument. So
it sounds like pareidolia to me.
It sounded like that to me at first glance, and I told him that, and he was like, no, do this one simulation, and I did a mathematical simulation that showed that it may not be pareidolia, but I don't have enough statistical training myself. I'm a professor. I've published about 50 papers. Some of my papers have quite a bit of statistical analysis, but this particular argument is beyond my level of expertise in order to prove that it's not pareidolia. Anyways, I understand the objection. Let me bring some other. There is a way to say something in a polite manner. Well, I appreciate Jesus. I don't think you've been on the channel before, so I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, thanks, Jesus, for chiming in. Love to hear more of your thoughts. Teach Yahweh, fascinating channel. Teach Yahweh just had a really great debate on Unitarianism versus Trinitarianism versus oneness. Really fascinating debate. So, hey, Teach Yahweh. And then Chronicle says, I asked you to download a book, but I think you haven't downloaded yet. That's the books where is all the criticism of Christianity, so I don't have to ask questions all the times. Yeah, I should download that book. You did recommend it. I've been remiss for not downloading it yet. I understand. It's been a busy time. Oh, that's really kind. A Christian 111 says, hard to believe you don't have more subs. I think I'm one of the most successful, like I'm in the top 30% or 20% of all YouTube channels for successes within the first year. So I'm actually quite content with being, we just crossed today 750 subscribers. So, and like I said, this is our 1-year anniversary show. So I'm quite content with that. But if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And I want to get some questions from the panelists. So I want to bring that up. Oh, TNC says, TNC, great channel also. Yeah, and Teach Yahweh, if you ever want to hop on one of these channels, you're welcome to. That would be absolutely wonderful.
I do have a question for you, Tavo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you consider yourself a theistic gambler? Is that the appropriate perspective to call you?
I think there are similarities between the predicament that I find myself in and the theistic gambler paradigm. Some people say that you should use a term like theistic decision maker rather than rational theistic gambler, but I think there's a lot of parallels. Yeah.
Okay. So you are saying one of the religions has to be true, and then you're trying to then from there your axiom is one of the religions has to be true, and then you're trying to find the best one based on various criteria.
That's pretty close. And Max, you know the CTF argument as well as anyone, so please feel free to chime in. But I would say my starting position is that that I think it's likely, at least, that if there is a God, that there is some percentage of religious truth to be found in one of the extant religions. Um, all right. Well, let's just quickly. We'll bring up Chronicle in just 1 second. Teach Yahweh just says everyone be sick with a cold, so I'm taking care of the whole household. On that, everything's been amazing. Really glad you're here, though. You got a fantastic channel. Hope your family gets better. Hope you don't get sick as well, and hope they all feel better very soon. I know there's a bad cold going around. We'll bring Chronicle up in just a second, but I just wanted to ask Kajek and Max a question first before I bring up Chronicle, and then Chronicle, I promise, we'll get you up very soon. So somebody posted a comment about me recently, which was really long, on the Facts with Stephen Boyce, saying that I'm not really a doctor. There's no record of any doctor with my name. I found that to be a little unfortunate. If you go to my channel description, in fact, I'll pull up my channel description. If you go to my channel description, it does say specifically that here. I'll put it in the chat, but it does specifically say. I'll put the statement in the chat, but I'm writing under a pseudonym, by the way, since I have a separate career in academia. So that's actually a direct quote lifted from my description. So I guess I just feel like the person who commented was like, this person is really misrepresenting themselves. I hope nobody feels that way. And if you want to ask me follow-up questions about that, you're welcome to. I don't use my real name. I use a pseudonym. And I think I've been pretty clear about that. I used to put that in every video, but I don't really put that in videos anymore. I've put it in the descriptions of some of my videos, but not all of them. But I don't know. Let's talk about that, Kajek and Max. What do you think? And I'll add Chronicle to this stage now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Max. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I mean, I'm willing to like accept that you're a doctor. I mean, people can use pseudonyms if they want. That's not like a crime. I mean, I don't think it makes you untrustworthy to use a pseudonym.
No, and actually, here's the thing: is that I was unclear if it was a pseudonym. It's fine that you're a doctor. That's fine. Doctors are often wrong, and that's fine. It's fine. It's fine to be a doctor. I actually have theories about what you're a doctor of. You seem like it doesn't seem like you're a doctor of it. You might be a doctor. I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to speculate about what you're a doctor of, but I've heard all the theories of who you might actually be, or if all your responses are AI. Trust me, as a person who has been talking to Tavo for a very long time, this guy does not use AI. He's just whip smart. He's wrong. He's extremely wrong, but he's really smart. And he does not use AI except for his owl persona. And my fox needs to be redrawn. My sister needs to redraw my fox man. But he does not use AI. He's a good guy. He does not use a voice changer. He's not actually the other guy that other people have claimed that he's this other apologist.
Yeah, you're talking about Mike Winger, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. People claim that you're Mike Winger with a voice changer. No.
I mean, that would be dumb, right? Like, why would Mike Winger go on create another channel that isn't very popular, and then say that he has all these doubts? Like, I feel like that's
He doesn't. You have a much more nuanced position, and if I may say, a kind of weird position. But yeah, he wouldn't have a reason to make up this new persona. And actually, Tavo and I have exchanged writings. The guy is extremely intelligent.
That's really nice of you to say.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, buddy. And I don't think he uses AI for his responses or anything like that. I think he has a very interesting approach to theism that is kind of, it's a little out there, but it's definitely not a oh, He got you, Tavo. He got you. I think he's legit. I don't think he's maybe I'm Mike Winger. Hey, hold on. Maybe I'm Mike Winger. I'm gonna turn into a Christian next week and have a subscriber explosion. But like I can attest to Tavo being a weird type of atheist, a weird type of theist. I don't know if I don't think he's an atheist. I don't know. I don't understand his position necessarily. But when
now, all right. Let me ask you a few follow-up questions. All right, number one, you said that we've exchanged books. Have you actually read any of my book?
Not yet.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yet, I've been too busy writing and all that stuff. I'm very sorry.
No, that's okay. I read a lot of your book. The first two chunks I read. It's a fascinating book. It's a fantasy book. It's not necessarily. I mean, it's actually quite aligned with some of your theological viewpoints, but
politically it has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I don't feel like anything that you're saying. When you're talking to somebody who disagrees with you, you don't want them to feel like smashed on the head with your viewpoints, right? That's a challenge for any writer.
Right.
I don't feel like smashed on the head. But let me ask you a follow-up question. So you said my views are weird. What's an example of a weird viewpoint that I have? Max, you can answer this question too, or Chronicle.
Your theistic gambling position is interesting, and also your latest video on purpose, that how the universe has purpose and meaning, was very strange. As a person who I am not comfortable with the idea of there being a meaning or purpose to my life. That's a very strange, authoritarian, top down, like, I don't want to be a ballet dancer, I'm better being a data management person, is the kind of thing that I do not like. You find it comforting and I don't. You think the universe has meaning and purpose, and I technically don't, aside from what we ascribe to it. So that is very interesting philosophical vantage point.
Well, I don't know that I would say that it's necessarily comforting. When I was an atheist, right? I know some people don't believe that, but I really was. And then I was diagnosed with terminal malignancy, right? And they told me I was going to die. They said, your kidneys are shutting down. We have to start you on dialysis. And I said, I'm actually going to go home and die of kidney failure. I'd rather do that than go on dialysis at this point, because I was already so sick. And, when cancer progresses to a certain... Anyways, the bottom line is this. I went home, really, on some level with the expectation that I would die. And I didn't die, but I was quite content as an atheist to die. I feel like theology is in some ways a weight. So I don't know that I would say that unqualifiably it's more comforting to know that we have a purpose. I think in some regards, it was really a weight, because I kind of look, I've done some things that have been, pretty morally bad. I'll just be honest with you. And I don't, I'll just give you one small example. I used to be very, very poor as a teenager, and I would steal food often. And I found great comfort in Rebecca Goldstein's argument that, God doesn't really care if you steal food, because the universe is too big and too chaotic and too entropic. There's no way for any entity to hold that much information to care about what you're doing with your life. I actually found that to be very comforting. I would much rather live in a universe where everything is random, because then if you do something wrong, it doesn't really matter. If you suffer, it doesn't really matter. But Max, I want to bring you into the conversation a little bit more. Are my views weird? Was my last video weird? What do you think?
So one thing I would say is that that thought experiment, even though it seems like you're trying to think like a materialist, it still comes across like you're thinking like a theist. And what I mean by that is it just seems intuitive from your point of view that people would submit to a higher authority. If God doesn't exist, then they would submit to an AI. And to me, that just seems like a strange way of thinking about that thought experiment.
Why don't you recap the thought experiment and state the challenge, and then state how you reconcile the challenge? In the meantime, we've got Justin on the channel. I don't think we've talked with Justin before. So which channel are you with, Justin?
Wait, which channel? I'm Small Hat in the chat.
Oh, Small Hat. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks for joining. So, all
Yeah,
right,
no
go ahead,
problem.
Max. So,
So
summarize
so
the
the
thought experiment and how do you
the thought
reconcile it?
experiment is like if there was a super intelligent AI, would we flip a switch to turn over complete control to it? Or am I characterizing like that's the short version? I'm just trying to think if I'm leaving out anything important about it, but that's the
You're
basic.
leaving out a few details, but that's I think that's fine for a short version. So,
Y-
would you flip the switch? And if not, do you have a materialistic reason for not flipping the switch?
And so the reason why I would not flip it is that we wouldn't know, even if it was super intelligent, we wouldn't know that it has our best interests in mind. So it could be dangerous to us. Um, like I don't equate intelligence with like benevolence necessarily. Like some of the worst people in history had high IQs or whatever. So I don't know why we would trust a super intelligence.
But I guess then my question is this: um, why should it matter if it doesn't have our best interests in mind? Like let's say let's say for sake of argument that it is super intelligent. It's a better moral reasoner than we are. It's more thoughtful than we are. It has more ability to calculate outcomes and to understand consequences. But let's say, oh, thanks by the way. Give the gospel of Jesus. Thanks very much for that shout out. Yeah, I would like, share, subscribe, thumbs up. Um, and I've added Dr. Kurt to the stage. But I guess if you're saying we shouldn't give over control because it doesn't have our best interests in mind, what makes our best interests moral? Now, here's the detail of the argument that I think you're leaving out that might be important in that regard: is the person who's actually got control of the switch is not human. It's like an alien like imagine you're an outside observer looking at Earth, and humans have created artificial superintelligence. So I think if you're in that position and you're the human and you're saying, well, this doesn't have our best interest in heart, why should I, as the outside observer with control of the switch, care if it doesn't have the best interest at heart?
Okay, so then I guess the question is, what would an outside observer care either way? Like it's just neutral if they have no investment in either side, either the humans or the AI. They would just, I mean, they could do nothing because it's the default position.
Yeah, I guess nothing is the default position, but at the same time, I think they might say this thing is smarter than humans. It should be in control. It should understand better.
Well, it could be a threat to them someday if it's super intelligent. So they might have a
I mean,
reason.
yeah, I guess that's. I mean, that's way forward thinking, right? I mean, imagine that an alien is looking at Earth and deciding this, and imagine that there's essentially no risk of this entity harming the alien.
So an alien could have any kind of morals imaginable. Like ours are derived from evolution to be cooperative. They could have something similar to ours and actually just empathize with us, or they may not. There's no neutral position. They could have any kind of morals of their own, really.
Well, Dr. Kurt's in the chat too. Does anyone else want to address this? Does anyone else want to address the consideration? And Dr. Kurt, I have a pointed question for you as well that came off. I don't know how long you've been listening, but I could ask that question to you too. Somebody like commented on Facts with Stephen Boyce's video about me and said, it's disingenuous because there's no record of Tavo Sanabri being a doctor, because you're a doctor too, and you're, at least I think you don't use your real name. I might be wrong, but I don't use my real name, and I've been pretty clear that Tavo Sanabri is a pseudonym. But if you have thoughts on that, I'd love to know your thoughts as a physician, because I definitely don't want to mislead people. And on my channel description, I always say, like, it says on my channel description, I'm creating this under a pseudonym. But
yeah, it's obviously like, it's not an anonymity in the sense that you're not taking responsibility for the things you say or backing it up, but it's anonymity to separate your professional life from what you're doing on YouTube. I think that's fine.
well, I think you raise an important point that, like, let me put it to you this way. Like, this is kind of dovetailing off what KJX said about this, which is, should somebody trust my opinion because I'm a doctor? I think the answer is no. Should somebody trust my opinion? Oh, go ahead.
I mean, no, someone's like professional credentials in an area that they're speaking with outside of their expertise, like those credentials mean nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, an orthopedist talking about an EKG is not particularly useful information either. And they're both physicians.
Yeah, I mean, I think it informs my perspective, which answers the question of why are you doing this? To say like I'm very involved in academia and I like using academic tools, but you shouldn't trust that my academic and look as I used to say this all the time and I don't say it as much, but you should not look at my videos and assume that these are academically published arguments, right? There is a different higher standard for academic publications that I will fully admit my arguments don't actually fit. So in other words, like if you look at any of my videos and you go, well, this is just as good as a publication, my suggestion is look at the evidence yourself. Always defer to the academic literature. And but yeah, but I would generally hope that people consider my arguments on their own merits and not just take it on blind faith that I have any authority, because I don't. And I used to say this in every video, but I have zero theological authority. I'm not a minister, I'm not a pastor. No one should listen to me and assume that I speak for Christianity. No one should listen to me and assume that I speak for the discipline of history. If I say this is the historical consensus, it's because that's where the research seems to be pointing in my view, but often I'm wrong about that, and I don't know the consensus of historical academicians firsthand. All important caveats. I don't say those often enough, but I also don't want anyone to think that I'm purposefully misrepresenting myself. In other words, it seems to me plain enough that I'm using pseudonym. I hope no one feels misled by that, because somebody did comment and I felt personally like, oh no, this person really legitimately feels misled. So I apologize if anyone feels that.
Yeah, I mean, different people like have different understandings of how academia works, so that's totally legitimate that they may not feel like clear on that. There are lots of people who think that everybody with an MD has a PhD, which like is just not the case. But
true.
The fact that somebody who has an opinion about theology speaks about it on the internet is not unusual or surprising.
Yeah.
And, to the degree that somebody's interacting with a scholarship and putting forward evidence that hasn't been put into the stream before, I still think that's impressive. I'm still like, again, I think what's nice about your argument is it's evidence-based and it's novel, and not like typical apologetics that people hear. So to that degree and the amount of work you put in it, that's very impressive. But if you wanted to go forward with publication, you'd probably need to find co-authors and like change it, polish it up.
Well, there's, there is a fine line, like if I am debating somebody on the historicity, well, let's not use that as an example. Let's use something a little more neutral. If somebody's has a quote from Jesus and they say, in ancient Aramaic, this means this, and this, I would, and I was debating them. I would find ways to debate them, but I would acknowledge that if that person had authoritative expertise in history, linguistics, and other relevant fields, that is something that would push me in the side of accepting their argument personally. Like I would sort of acknowledge that, but Kajek, I find that you have a lot of strange beliefs yourself. For somebody with the phalanges like you, I can't believe you would argue some of the things that somebody with your phalanges and your metatarsals does not have adequate footing.
Go ahead. What are my strange beliefs, Tavo? Go ahead.
No, I'm kidding. No, this is just in reference to the comment that I have on the screen, Tavo.
Yeah, you're my podiatrist. You're a great doctor.
If I ever have channel stickers made, it's going to say Tavo is my chiropodist.
I'm a Tavoist through and through.
My degree is not a DPM. I'm not a doctor of podiatric medicine. So
I you know what? I think that you're probably I will speculate you're probably in one of the mechanical or engineering fields. I have zero evidence of that. Just like there's zero evidence of God, I believe you're in one of the mechanical or engineering fields.
I mean, you're not. Maybe I shouldn't say too much, but you're not far off. But I just want to be honest with you. I am a medical doctor, so my degree is an MD.
You are?
I'm a medical doctor. Yeah.
So you could be my podiatrist. Let me turn on the camera.
No. That's DPM. Podiatry is DPM.
me
There
tell
are
you,
a tiny number of orthopedic surgeons who work on the foot. And
That's true. That's true. You could be an orthopedic surgeon who's a foot orthopedic surgeon, but
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
don't.
Let me turn on the camera here. I got a corn. No.
We're about to have an entirely different fan base.
That's so funny.
Have I ever heard of a debate? Oh, have I ever had a debate with Radar Apologetics? No, I'm not even familiar with that channel. Radar Apologetics. Oh, and I know who you are. Give the gospel of Jesus. You've been commenting on my videos and had some really very supportive and insightful comments. I really appreciate that. I think you even were on my Facebook and you commented on my Facebook, so I really do appreciate that. I don't know Radar Apologetics, but I will. I'll make myself a note to look up Radar Apologetics. Oh, okay. Chronicle says, "Why you skip my comment?" Let me go to your comment. I'm remiss. Like I said earlier, I've not downloaded this book, and I apologize, and I should. And he even says, "Now download the book and answer all criticism in it." Book, Satyarth Prakash, English version. No, I didn't mean to skip your comment. I take it seriously that you recommend that I check out that book. I'm interested in it, and I apologize that I haven't gotten to it yet. So I didn't mean to skip your comment. I apologize. Well, we kind of left off while Max was talking about my thought experiment argument in the recent video that I did, but I'm happy to go back to that. I kind of thought that I would go through some of the videos that I've done the last year and just talk about some of them a little bit, and the panelists can weigh in and say what you think about these.
So, Tavo, can I ask a question?
For sure, yeah. This open discussion. Anyone can ask anything too.
I think that why do we have why do we have ethical considerations is because of evolution and because of empathy, and because it's better for the species to have empathy. It might not be better for the individual to have empathy, but it's definitely better for the species. I might be wrong about this, but it's definitely better for the species to have some empathy for their own genetic similar persons. But the fact that you can debate ethics means that there is a deeper meaning to ethics. So if an alien species comes down and says or claims that we are wrong about an ethical position, there is a debate to be had, a rational, reasonable debate that can be had. It's a very slow, philosophy has been very slow. I'm a Kantian. I think Kant got it 80% correct, but there is a debate to be had. There is a debate to be had, but why do we have ethical considerations in the first place is because of evolution. But ethics is a thing you can rationally debate and not have to appeal to feelings.
I don't know that I don't know what I think about that. I think if let's say I woke up tomorrow and I was back to being an atheist, what would I believe about ethics or ethicology? I think I would be an ethical emotivist, very honestly. So I'm not saying that ethical discourse is impossible. I'm just saying, what evaluative criteria do you base your ethics on? In other words, I find it to be very muddy when you say this is wrong, and you say, well, give me a yardstick for right or wrong. I think coming up with moral maxims that fulfill Immanuel Kant's categorical imperative that are universally true as moral maxims, I think that's actually quite challenging. So I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I am saying it gets muddy. And what I'm saying with my thought experiment is that you can have an ethical debate with that external entity that has control of the switch, but can you make a materialistic argument? I think the answer is I don't think there's one to be made. And
when you
if
say
that's
a materialistic argument, what do you mean, Tavo? Sorry.
In other words, give me an argument that an external force has control of a switch. That switch cedes control from humanity to the artificial superintelligence that we've created. Give me an argument that you would make to that external intelligence that the switch should not be flipped.
An ethical argument, or a kind of utilitarian argument?
I'll let you make any argument actually you want. I think but you have to, in addition to giving me the argument, I think you should give me the evaluative criteria that you're appealing to.
Well, I would say utilitarian. You would. This is the. Oh, come on. I'm not even going to address that comment. You can't have objective truth as an atheist. Come on. I'm not even going to address that. No, utilitarian reason to not cede control could come from various sources. It's just like an entity that that might not have our interest in mind. So how about that?
Why should our interests matter? Why are human interests inherently good?
I'm not saying that human interests are inherently good. I'm saying that they are valuable.
They are inherently human
beings.
I would argue like all the humanities combined negative effects from an external force with just seeing the morals of how many people and what they've done. Like, I honestly think from an atheist perspective that you should give AI total control, in my opinion. I'm personally not atheist. I was just saying if I was to view it from an atheist perspective. But yeah, I think any punishment it'd be giving would be a valid result if it was theoretically perfectly moral. That's also if I understood the question correct.
You mean it's punishing me for the wrongs of this is actually great.
No.
Back to the Bible. Punishing me for the crimes of Eve is ludicrous. So no, that is not a valid position. This is great.
Wait,
well,
I think you misunderstood what I said, but
here's what I would say to that. And we've had this conversation before, and I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but I don't believe that the Bible says you are being punished because of a transgression of Eve. Now, I know
that's correct. The Bible doesn't say that. Christians do, but the Bible doesn't.
Then you get into a totally different rabbit hole, which is it Christian doctrine laid on top of the Bible, or is it the Bible itself that we should be following? And that's a whole other rabbit hole with a lot of other side questions to it. But my point is this: I think the story of the Garden of Eden is an allegory, and the point of the allegory is an acknowledgement that humans are evil, are flawed. We make terrible moral decisions over and over again. And if you take a random person and you put them in a position of power as an emperor or something, I think 95% of the time you'll get a very malignant, authoritarian, austere regime. So I don't know that that's a complete indictment of human nature, but it points in a direction. And I think most of the cruelty in history points in the direction of humans being rather malignant overall.
And most of the cruelty in Christian history points to the fact that being a Christian doesn't help you solve the problem of having
exactly.
Well, I would agree with that. I don't know that my expectations would be different. In other words, I look at every ideology and I see that not every ideology, but almost every ideology either doesn't scale to a societal level, or when it does, it turns people into very brutal creatures.
Why? So this goes back to a question I've had a lot. Why aren't Christians better than the average person? Why did Christianity engage in the slave trade? Like the Pope just recently asked for forgiveness for the slave trade. Why was Christianity involved in the slave trade in the first place? Why are Christians? Why is the Klan primarily Christian if the text is divine? And I know what you're going to say. It's because God is less powerful than human ignorance. But I think that is a terrible answer, and I want some kind of understanding of why God cannot penetrate human stupidity in that sense. Why are humans so damn stupid?
Well, let me first answer oneday3.od. By the way, this is a great channel, One Day 3. I hope you guys all make friends with this channel and all interact with each other. I think if I get hit by a piano tomorrow, my biggest hope for this channel, because I've been kind of thinking, what have I done in the last year? My biggest hope for this channel is that it's spawned relationships that will go beyond this channel. So, but to answer your question, when day 3, I think I'll probably be on for I mean, we're at 40 minutes now. I think it's our anniversary, so we'll probably do like 2 hours, given that it's our 2-year anniversary. And Small Hat, what is your theological background? Because I don't want to be the only one who answers these questions, and we've talked about this before on the channel.
I'm Baptist. I'm not like super informed in my beliefs. I've been Christian for about 2 years, had a couple debates, but yeah.
Well, would you like to take a shot at answering this question?
Yeah, sure. But can you repeat the question? Something around of why Christians also participate in bad actions and why God doesn't just step in correcting us, or
It's a little less than that. It's a little less than that, Small Hat. I don't blame you for my position is weird. Again, it's all weird. Is that if the Bible is divine, why were so many Christian groups completely evil? For example, why did they participate in the slave trade if the Bible condemns slavery? It doesn't really, and I don't want to get into that. But why is the Klan so deeply Christian? Why? And what I've usually heard is that God cannot, like, humans are so stupid, so damn stupid, that they can't understand God's word. They're so ignorant and prideful that they would never understand God. And my response is, why is God impotent in that regard? And you know what? I'll let you answer, Small Hat. That's kind of the setup for my question. I'll let you answer.
And Small Hat, please feel free to answer, but like, I don't want you to feel thrown under the bus because you've not been on here before, so I don't know the extent to which you want to debate. So if you're like, well, here's what I think, but
I'll try.
Okay. Yeah.
It's also 2 a.m. for me, so I'll try my hardest. What I will say is Christians don't follow the Bible perfectly. The commandments, like, everybody almost sins daily, like, if not more. And I feel like the Bible has been manipulated a lot. We could also look at like Catholicism, Orthodox, and all that. They have a lot of different, not necessarily beliefs, but they have church fathers' opinions, stuff like this, more materials that they could be like, oh, well, we could look at this. Like, also for an example, I think it was Catholicism that actually, I'm not clear on that. So let me take that back. In short, humans are flawed and we don't follow the Bible perfectly. We try our best to. And sorry, I'm also kind of stressed. I've never really been on a stage before. So
No, and I definitely don't, like, you are welcome to like answer as much as you want and have as much of a conversation as you want, Justin. And I'm really glad that you're here. And I think you've been asking some really thoughtful comments. And so don't feel like any of this is like, if you join the chat, you better be ready to defend yourself. This is just a friendly conversation.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my 2 to 3, maybe even 4 cents about this, because I think there's a few reasons. Number one, could God have written a Bible that would be so emotionally moving that upon reading it, you would automatically be compelled to make the moral decision each and every time that you read it? I mean, I think that's certainly a possibility, but would you want that? Often when I ask people this thought experiment, I say, let's say I could put a chip in your brain that would restrict your ability to make any immoral decision, right? Would you want that chip in your brain? Most people say no. Most people want the ability to make the decision. So it's difficult to imagine God creating something that creates essentially a compulsion, essentially a system that is authoritarian, that causes you to lose your ability to make those moral decisions. That's my first answer. My second answer is we do actually have a body of evidential literature that does suggest that Christians are morally, in some regards, better people currently. Now, what I'm talking about is philanthropy, right? So donations to charitable causes. And this isn't just theological charities. These are secular charities as well. So donating to charity across causes, that's something that Christians tend to do more than their atheistic counterparts. And that's true, by the way, fascinatingly, on all sides of the political spectrum. there's also some evidence that shows that Christians tend to volunteer more. Now, I don't know that that alone makes the argument that Christianity is a more valid religion, but I think it does mute the counter argument just a little bit. Okay. And I think my third argument is that why aren't Christians discernibly more moral people than the rest of the populace in the United States, for instance? And I think it's because Christian values have sort of seeped out from Christianity into the public discourse in such a way that that I think we're all in a position where we're sort of like all talking the same moral language. So we're all sort of, so I think there's a degree of, maybe if you just had a bunch of Christians and you took them and you put them on an alien planet, with people who had no religion, I think you'd have a more moral society than the rest of the population of that planet. I think the effects, the marginal incremental increase in morality among Christians is mitigated by the fact that we're all sort of taught roughly the same value system, and that value system is taught in Christianity as it's taught in other secular environments as well. Now, I personally think that again doesn't prove Christianity. And one last thing I'll say is, it's almost, I think sociologically, a very certain conclusion that when Christianity emerged in Judea, that it did change the Roman Empire into a more kind, a more charitable place. And I think that change happened over several centuries in some regards. One is adoption, right? There was a practice of infant exposure where in the Roman Empire, it was completely acceptable to take a baby that you didn't want and just leave it out and just let it die of exposure to the elements, right? That's something Christians stopped. So adoption started becoming a thing largely because of Christian values. I think that's something that is fairly certain. Educational institutions probably grew from Christian values to a certain degree. That's a little bit more debatable. I think hospitals grew out of Christian practices as well. Again, that's not entirely without debate. I think you could argue that there were some temples that were devoted to healing, but I think the practice of taking care of the indigent who couldn't care for themselves, I think that is something that came from Christianity to a stronger degree. I don't think we would have had hospitals that would have looked like they do as quickly as we did if it weren't for Christianity being an influence in the creation of a lot of the hospital systems that exist now. So those are a few of my responses. I don't know that totally mitigates the criticism, but
well, so what I would say is that I don't think, if you want to say, okay, well, why is there free will? So God doesn't want any robots in heaven. Okay, I'm not saying that God would insert a chip into your head. I'm saying that God would present an argument that is so very compelling, and it would compel. It would have at least no Christian would have joined the slave trade, or at least very few. And also, it's great that Christians, I think free will is not worth cancer and avalanches and slavery and gun and school shootings. I do not think free will is worth that if God exists. I think God has let evil swarm, and crazy, cancer in children. I don't know why would God let that happen.
Let me do a little homework just really quick, because I think Chris has something to say, and so I want to let Chris onto the stage. But before you say that, Chris, just a couple of things, just really quick. Give the Gospel of Jesus says, like, share, subscribe, thumbs up. Really, really appreciate that. If you're watching this video and you get something out of it, please click the like button on this video. That really does help us out. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So again, shout out for that. The Anti-Social Socialite podcast says, peace, everyone. Anti, good to see you. We've had some near misses on having some conversations. I hope we get to have some conversations. And lastly, Chris says, I can answer the free will question. So here it is, Chris. Go ahead.
My, estimated answer is God himself, in my opinion, okay, he doesn't want any robots, as you say, and, who does? And also, it's because We live in a
The
fallen world.
Japanese pretty clearly want robots.
I know. I mean, the whole idea is robots
Yeah,
are
exactly.
the invention
He
of.
wanted a bunch of robots in the Garden of Eden,
No, I mean,
and then
robots
they
are literally
made
a
him
bunch.
once, and he cursed our entire
let's-
species.
Chris is a bit new on the channel, so let's let him like finish the argument.
Like the whole idea of robots, God didn't straight up want robots. The whole point of free will, since the devil tempted Adam and Eve, the whole point of free will is like to know inside that, well, for us to have some kind of self-awareness for our fallen state, and then to seek his will, saying he would have our best interests at heart, while there are other people who, well, I don't know how else to put it, but they're actually rebellious to God. Even if you show them all the evidence in the world, they would still reject God. Even if he did turn water into wine in front of their face, they would find some reason to reject him. There's people like that, and there's other people who, well, see what gifts he actually gives us and be appreciative.
Let's get Dr. Kurt to respond to that now, just to get some other people in the mix.
I mean, does that make
Maxwell, what do
sense?
you-
I don't know. Felt like it was all over the place.
Well, boy, I tell you, Tavo, these arguments are some of the weakest arguments I've ever heard.
Wait,
Herr
who-
Ludemann even accepts that the empty tomb is well known, even in fifth decade, fourth decade, very early.
I think Gary Habermas has joined the chat. Is that what I'm hearing?
That was a great.
You know, these skeptics and atheists, they have a lot of real problems with their position. Because how do you handle 500 witnesses? You don't even know how to deal with it.
He's turning this into a circus, Tavo.
Legitimately, Dr. Kurt, I was legitimately like, who the heck is talking right now? I have to.
Like, who was talking?
Yeah, so that's my Habermas.
That's very, very convincing. That's actually. I mean, I knew I knew that you did a Habermas. I haven't heard it before,
Yeah,
That
but
was really
it's
good.
shot,
That was
man.
really good, Kurt.
Thanks.
you should call
Oh,
into you should call into Dale's channel sometime with that.
Yeah, sure. No, my position on this is, you know, a lot of this is just question begging. There's no question that there's like ethical changes that happen in the Roman Empire over time. But the question is whether Christianity represents a unique trajectory or whether it's just part of the natural evolution of the flow and the energies of the empire changing over time. You can go back retrospectively and like carve it up in such a way that makes Christianity look good, or you can go back and carve it up and show that the precursors for all the changes that happen after Constantine existed prior to it. But there's just no like answer to the question. Like you just have a baseline affinity for the data set that you want to privilege, and then you can look at it in that way. I just think like a lot of these things, for example, like you'll get this, Tavo, even if maybe everybody else doesn't. The quote Copernican revolution that we describe happening around the time of, 16th century. At the time, like nobody was aware of it. Nobody knew anything about it. Nobody had any understanding of it at all. But I think they asked Luther what he thought of Copernicus, and he's like, I don't know, seems dumb to me, and didn't even have any idea it was going on. So a lot of this just gets put back into history by us from our perspective. But for example, right now in the life sciences, we're in a revolution, right? There's the like genomic and microbial sequencing that we're able to do now is revolutionizing our understanding of all of these living systems that we didn't really fully understand until we were able to see the full picture of the various like DNA sequences and proteins and genes that are behind all of these activities that don't all come from one organism. But for the average people who are living through this, they don't know anything about it. They're not even aware of it. And so I think that we can certainly go back and say, oh, look at what happens after the 4th century. And like, that's true. But if the decision to ascribe to Christianity rather than Diocletian is just a choice that somebody makes based on prior like affinities.
Well, so let's do a little homework first. And this is a little house cleaning stuff first. So I want to add 1day3 to the chat. Right now, KJEC Max, Small Hat. Okay. Well, we are. So does anyone want to drop off the chat so we can add 1day3? I can't add more than 6 people. This is the first time we've had this problem because we're a fairly small channel, but and while you're mulling that,
I can drop out.
Dr. Kurt, I think you have some really good points. So there's really nobody in the panel that I would pick to drop out, to be honest. But
I'm happy to drop out if you need the space. It's no problem. I got plenty of stuff to do.
Okay, well, let's talk. We'll talk again. And I owe you an email, Dr. Kurt. So you'll hear from me tonight one way or another.
Okay,
Don't
sounds
leave
good.
me with these hyenas, Kurt. Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm going to add 1day3 to the stage, but I do want to also address that this is from James. He says, Tavo's a fraud. You all know it. I know it more. He did a Monte Carlo simulation on Pi, but won't talk about it. James, I apologize. Why doesn't would somebody do me a favor and find, or James, you can find it. If you find the video on Pi, you're welcome to copy it and paste it into or send it to me in an email or just copy it in a comment link and send me the comment. And I'd be happy to paste it as a comment on this chat because I did do a Monte Carlo simulation. I talked about that in very vague terms early on in the video, but and tell them about Pi-U fraud. I mean, I tried to tell them about it. It's a little hard to explain in a format like this, but it's an interesting argument. I grant you that. I would never want to be like, don't talk about this argument, James. Like, it's a good argument. I'm glad you have it on your channel. I don't know that it's the right thing for me to talk about just because, like I said, when I was doing the statistical analysis, I have a really hard time understanding the statistical tools that are differentiating which parts of the argument are pareidolia and which parts are legitimate statistical analysis. Now, I will say I did a Monte Carlo simulation at your request, and it showed results that corroborate that it's not pareidolia. So I feel good about admitting that in public. If I made a video about this argument and I put it up and somebody made a counter and said this is pareidolia, I could say the math suggests otherwise, but I don't know that I could make that point convincingly, and I don't know that I could argue that in the comment section. So I know that's a lot of I don't mean to be, I'm not a fraud. I mean, it's a good argument. I'll share it as much as you'd like. You're always welcome to talk about it on my channel. And I've told you that before. You're welcome to come on and have a chat about it. But I don't know that this rises to the level of asserting that I'm a fraud.
3.14 question mark?
What's that?
3.14 is he talking about?
3.14.
I'm just new to that.
Circumference to the diameter, right?
Okay.
And then that proves that God sacrificed himself to himself for a 3-day weekend because a lady ate an apple.
Well, okay. Well,
Holy Trinity.
Yeah. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Jesus,
okay,
God.
One last comment from James, because James, I'm really legitimately not trying to shut you out. You're right. I did the Monte Carlo simulation. That suggests that this is not pareidolia, and I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying if I made a video about this argument, I don't know how I would defend against it being pareidolia. And as I've told you before, James, like, you're welcome to come on the channel and we'll do a Talking with Tavo series. And I'm happy to be like, here's the argument, here's a forum, here's, this way my audience gets to see the argument. I'm not opposed to that at all. I just want to be clear that understanding the nuances of why this is pareidolia and why it's not, and where the pareidolia breaks down and why it's not pareidolia is not something that I think I could do convincingly. And then I'd be stuck with an argument on my channel that I'd have a really hard time defending. So I think, James, if you're upset with me for not extolling the virtues of the argument more, I understand that. I just it's just not an argument that I feel super comfortable talking about independently. Like, I think the best thing for you to do is come on the channel and do a Talking with Tavo, and we'll talk about it. I'd be happy to do that. I think it's an interesting argument. You did that with Dale, and I think that went really well. So, anyways, I apologize. I guess I'm sort of sensitive about the fraud accusation because somebody was like, "You're not a doctor. Or there's no doctor with your name." And as I've specified, I don't. we'll set it up. I'm not passing you off. Yeah, we'll set it. I'll happily set it up over email. I'm happy to do that. That's kind of to say truth or religious nonsense. I mean, I'm sensitive. I don't want anyone to think I'm a fraud.
What a graceful response.
That's kind of you to say. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a legitimate. His frustration is legitimate. He's talked to me about this before. He said make a video about it, and I was like, I did the Monte Carlo simulation, and I was like, this is interesting.
You don't have to say
You're a gentleman and a scholar, Tavo. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
You're a gentleman and a scholar, Tavo. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
But James, you have my assurance that
I would be.
What's that?
You're way more graceful than I would be.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm a hoser just as often as I'm graceful. So I appreciate that kind of words. Well, let's get to one day 3 and have you.
He is? That's why I'm a Tavoist.
You're a slapologist, and we all know it. But I'm a slapolite. What's the word? Slapostle. Yeah.
You're one of the apostles of slapology. Yes.
Okay, so we sort of have a question on the table. Let's bring one day 3 in to talk about this a little bit more. The question is, if Christianity is true, why is there not a larger differential between Christian behavior and the rest of the behavior of the population?
Right. So I heard that, and I wanted to answer the first part that I think when Chris popped on, he was trying to answer the issue of evil, right? Free will type of thing. So I'll answer that, and then I'll jump to what you just said. So I feel like what Chris, right? That's your name?
Yeah, I chose that one because that's my name.
Perfect. I think what he was trying to say is that God allows evil because in our paradigm, a forced love is not actual love. Forced obedience is not righteousness. And a world with real moral choice must actually include the possibility of real rebellion. But Christianity also doesn't say that God is passive toward evil.
One question.
It's also self-awareness. Like,
well,
wait a minute.
Hold on a second. Let him answer.
How can you have real? He's sending you to hell for rebelling. Correct?
Well, I would say that's incorrect.
Real rebellion.
I say that's incorrect.
I think people choose to go to hell.
That's incorrect.
Yeah,
I'll explain why. I'll explain what I mean. Hey,
all right. Let's. I want to make so. KJ's talked for a while, so let's turn it back to one day 3. But I do want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to express themselves,
right.
And I want to err on the side of giving KJ a little more airtime because I think now we are a little bit imbalanced with more Christians than atheists.
Of course. Yeah, I was just gonna. I would like to have a conversation with him for sure. So yeah, KJ, what I was trying to about he sends you to hell if you do wrong. I would say that's incorrect because the concept of hell in general in the Christian paradigm is not a place that God sends you if you do wrong. It is the absolute separation of God. If God is the source of all things good, all things moral, all things true, and all the fruits of the Spirit, which are self-discipline, love, righteousness, all these things, then you saying, hey, I don't want you anymore, and I don't want you in my life because I don't trust and believe in you, is him just giving you what you said, like which is the absence of him. And that's what hell is. It's just the absence of God in general.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
One day. Is hell a lake of fire?
It's called the lake of fire, but that's just I would say that's more of a
that's annihilation. That's
I would also
go ahead. You can speak before I answer.
That's annihilation at the end of everything.
Yeah, so it's called a lake of fire, but all that is a metaphor, or I would call it a metaphor solely for the absence of all things good, which if God is the source of all things good, then if he is not there, then that place is probably bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now let's turn it back to give it back to KJ.
That's you're adding a lot of stuff.
I'm not.
It's just a lake of fire, isn't it? Isn't it just a lake of fire? I think most Christians would just say it's a lake of fire.
No, it's also described as like darkness, and there's also other traits that
there's also
describe it to where when it talks about people suffering, it's not just like getting burnt. It's like their tears won't be met. They won't be able to cry, gnashing of teeth, stuff like this.
These are all metaphors for a place that is without God. Same thing in the Old Testament. There is hell isn't even really referred to, quote unquote, in the Old Testament. It's not Gehenna. It's called Sheol. And Sheol in the Old Testament is literally just the think it's Hebrew just for like the grave where the dead sleep. And you don't have the fullness of hell until Jesus comes in his second coming. So you don't even get the fullness of heaven before Jesus' second coming. You don't even get the fullness of hell until Jesus' second coming. So before
on day 3, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I do think that is a punishment that precludes what you said at first, which is that God does not want robots, but he punishes people anyway.
Well, I'll give you two answers to that. So it's not I'll give you two answers. So one, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a quote unquote punishment, and I'll explain what I mean by that first. Because if you are literally saying, God, I do not want to be with you, I'm rebelling against you, and I don't want anything to do with you, and God says, okay, you don't have to be with me, then you are no longer with him. And again, if he's the all source of all things good, then that is going to be all things bad by definition. Now, the other thing about it being punishment, like you were saying, if you want to look at it in a punishment type of scenario, if you have a father and you do bad things in regard to how you live your life and he punishes you, is he wrong for that?
Now I have a let me turn that around. Is God good because he's God, or are good things good whether or not God ascribes to them? So
God is objectively good.
Let me jump in here, Kajek. Let me jump in here because you are pointing to a paradox, and it's one of the paradoxes from Plato. But I'm just blanking on the name because I think it might be good for people to hear the name of it so they can look at more information.
It is a Plato asks the question, or rather Socrates asks the question: is God good because he's God, or are good things good because, so where does good come from? And
okay, it's the euthyphro dilemma. I think that's the name of it. A few people are saying that. So,
well, how are you phrasing it? Is God good because he's God, or what?
Is it arbitrary justice you're asking? Like, who makes the rules?
No. Is God are good things good because they're good, or are good things good because God endorses
they're good?
them?
I think God is objectively good. So he is the creator of all things that are good.
See, that's a serious problem.
Why is that a problem?
That is a serious problem.
We can go through it.
Good things I would think of as a standard that God has, not
just
necessarily
because he's God. So what if I disagree with what God? Thank you. Thank you for it's been a long time since I've been in the philosophy classroom, and I'm debating 17 people right now. Why would it be good just because God endorses it? It shouldn't it,
because he's the causation of all things. I mean,
why would a thing that sneezed out the universe be good? See, the problem is that goodness is much more interesting than just some guy in the sky endorses it. And that's the problem, is that God. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is my answer. So goodness is rooted in who God eternally is. Because
wrong.
Wrong.
Kajek, let him finish the argument.
So God does not become good by following a rule that's outside of himself, and he doesn't invent goodness randomly. He is the standard specifically.
Why?
So when we say, and before I keep going, you are an atheist, correct?
Yes.
Are you more an atheist because you disagree with Christianity, or are you an atheist because you don't believe there's reasonable evidence to believe in God in general?
I believe that there is no evidence that God exists.
Okay, so I'll keep going. But so when we say as a Christian, God is good, we mean that God is perfectly holy, righteous, loving, just, truthful, merciful, and faithful by his nature. So God isn't good because he meets a standard above him, and he isn't good because he arbitrarily defines evil as good. God is good because his unchanging nature is the standard by which good and evil are measured, basically.
Can you demonstrate that?
What do you?
10 Commandments, as I said in the comment.
So in one of the 10 Commandments is
here's what I'll ask you. What are the 10 Commandments? Is that what you asked?
No. Why?
Let's start with that.
Let's turn it back over to Chris to present his argument that God is good based on the 10 commandments. So Chris, your comment is on the screen, but why don't you present the argument and then we'll go back to Kajak.
Well, if we go down each one, these 10 commandments generally reflect on morality. Like, well, thou shalt not kill. Everybody agrees killing is wrong. Like, straight up, we all
But
feel
why?
bad.
Yes,
it would separate tribes. It would cause instability. That's the reason why it's, a commandment. It's sinful. Is God good? And only on self-defense it'd be overridden because every creature defends themselves. But
let's go through them one by one, if you'll allow me. Number one, I'm God. That is not something inborn inside of us. In fact, the Old Testament had to be written for us to know who this guy is. So number one is automatically wrong.
Why is it wrong?
It's wrong because we do not know who this God is. It is the number one commandment. You shall have no other gods before me, which is a completely unreasonable position.
Now, let me interject again just for a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, thanks to this person who's commented on a few videos. I missed it, but please do like and subscribe. Please click the like button on the video. Please subscribe to the channel. That really does help us out. So I do want to just bring that up for housekeeping. And also, you're not the only atheist on the panel. So Max, if you want to chime in on any of this stuff, I don't want to make anyone feel singled out or overwhelmed or ganged up on. So do feel free to I think you've muted yourself right now, Max, which I appreciate. But if you want to chime in on these debates, I'm happy to hear more of your perspective, Max. Or if there are other atheists who want to chime in too, that's a reasonable thing to do.
So isn't the first commandment like a huge infringement on people's like I guess we have a concept of like a right to your own conscience and to follow your own religion. Like
Correct.
that's like in the Constitution.
Yeah, that's correct. It's in the Constitution. That's based on our, humanistic standard. I mean, I agree with what you just said. But
so is that immoral then to have that?
You got to think of this in. I mean, obviously you're atheist. So if you think about it in our paradigm, if
we're saying be a Christian to agree to it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly right. You got to be a Christian to be.
I'm not saying you don't have to be a Christian to be moral.
I have the
I
commandments in front of me now. The whole point of the first commandment, I am your God. There are no others besides me. It's more like a morality. Like if you have more roads. I should say you have roads, you'll end up having more corrupt roads. Like one road leads to child sacrifice, another road approves of murder. Like each one will have their own, corrupting way, while others the right way. That's the main essential.
I'm not about to sacrifice.
I don't think you understand.
Children.
We're not saying you are, and I'm also not saying that you can't be moral because you're not a Christian. My argument in regard to that would be like you have nothing to pull your morality from.
Whoa, buddy! I studied ethics in I was a Kantian through and through. Okay. Did you study ethics in college? I mean,
sure
it doesn't mean that I'm
He's
correct.
asking what the origin of it is.
We don't. I try to not.
The origin.
I try to limit the arguments from authority because again I don't I throw around a lot. I'm a doctor and professor, but I hope no one.
I'm just going by one.
I get it.
Yeah. But
I get it.
I know we're going through the 10 commandments individually, but
the first commandment is problematic.
So the first commandment, the reason it's not problematic is because he's not saying, first of all, do you know what the first commandment means and what he's speaking about? But whenever he says, don't have any gods before me.
You shall have no other gods before me.
Do you know what that means?
Worship only the one true God.
Okay, so by gods, because the word God is thrown around all throughout the Bible or whatever else, the word God doesn't mean like other deities in a sense. It means don't put like any idols. Like if I'm holding a water bottle right now, like don't make water be your idol in life. Don't make basketball be your idol in life. Don't have wrestling be your one and only idol in life.
Buddy, let me read it again. You shall have no other gods before me.
Correct. There's context.
Worship only the one true God.
Correct. Don't put any rival, idol, created thing, false deity, power or nation, money, self-desire. All of that can be looked at as your personal God. That's the point of him saying that.
Why?
Well,
why should we
also
worship
even false idols, like how stuff like the pantheons like Zeus and stuff,
Mhm.
and then there are some quote gods that do child sacrifice, and there's others like each one has their own corrupt
Now,
road.
wait a minute. Why should we worship this God over?
Let's let Chris finish his point. I'm okay with that, Chris. Go ahead. Do you want to finish your
Like
point?
this. There's Aphrodite who does an overindulgence of pleasure and stuff, which is too much of something is sinful because it objectifies everything. Pretty much another way, it's an idol in its own way. So that's the main reason why one God, my mind dropped, but pretty much saying
You're fine.
the morality at that point is, he just wants what's best for you. That's the best.
Right.
way
This
to
is what
put
Chris
it.
is saying, and I think I know where you're getting to.
I hate my being tried.
You're fine, man.
Yeah.
God says no gods before me, not because other gods, quote unquote, compete with him. It's because humans constantly worship created things as if they were ultimate. The command.
Really quick, just a really quick interjection again. Truth or Religious Nonsense says, "Going to go hang out with my wife and daughter. God bless you all. Hope to engage more with you later
God
on."
bless.
They've got a really fantastic Facebook group. So Torn, feel free to reach out to me via email. I hope we can get something scheduled. I know you kind of like at least some facets of the CTF argument. I'd be happy to share more of those on your channel and have a more thorough discussion anytime on your channel or on mine. I think you just started a Facebook group, and I really admire what you're all about. If you want to post a link, I'll put it in the comments and I'll share it. But the point is this: your Facebook group's really fantastic. It argues for more discourse between disparate groups while advocating for an ethos of respect. So I really dig that, and kudos on that. And so I know you got to go, but thanks for hanging out. Glad to see you here in this chat. I'm sorry we didn't get you on, but I hope we have more collaboration in the very near future.
God bless Truth or Religious Nonsense. But what I wanted to say in regard to UK Jack is the command exposes idolatry. It's not God's insecurity. That's all.
Well,
everything man
I
touches.
appreciate that. But the commandment as written says, "You shall have no other gods before me. Worship only the one true God." So there is no. I love your interpretation.
Well, it's not interpretation. That's what the Bible says. I'm putting everything in context.
You can interpret it. You can interpret text that is undivine in any way you want.
I would say I would disagree with that as well. Can I explain why?
In case you're confused, it says, "You shall have no other gods before me."
Correct.
Worship only the one true God.
Correct.
And then the second one is don't bow down to idols.
You shall not make it. The second one is the second one and the first one can be synonymous with each other because
don't take your name in vain. Yes.
But the second one, why not leave out the first one? So the first one, let's all agree that the first one
lessens his name
is just a kind of an authoritarian. Only worship me, which a God.
You didn't hear the reason. You didn't hear the reason.
A real God would not care about.
It turns.
You didn't hear the reason.
It turns.
So that's number one.
Let's go. There's a lot of people talking, so let's turn it back over to 1Day3 for the response because I think it can be.
Yeah, Kajak, you didn't understand my reasoning. This command, the no gods before me, one, there's a lot more context surrounding it if you open the Bible and read it in its totality. However, the reason my reasoning or his reasoning for say that is again not
man corrupts all.
Well, besides that, yes, but not because other gods compete with him, like I was saying. Like us as humans, we constantly worship things that are created things on this earth. If God is the source of all creation or all causation, if we're worshiping created things, we're not seeking the ultimate goal of salvation. The command exposes our idolatry as humans. That's not God being insecure or anything like that. He's trying to save us.
Can I propose a type of consensus, because I'm hearing your arguments and they're okay. Kajak, I'll give you the floor next. I'm sorry, Kajak, I didn't mean to step on you there.
So
thanks very much for a good anniversary chat. Thanks very much. Give the gospel of Jesus for advocating the people. Like the video, that really does help us out. Subscribe, please. I would advocate for that as well. And Kajak, here's my proposal to you. Can we at least acknowledge some consensus here? And the area of consensus that I would advocate for is that it was, at least from an empirical perspective, fortuitous that the Israelites got this commandment, because they were surrounded on all sides by cults which were much more brutal. Is that maybe a historical context that we can say that at
That's accurate.
least this commandment played an important role in history in terms of the formation, in terms of the repudiation against child sacrifice and things like that.
Well, I wasn't about to sacrifice any children
Not you.
by following the first commandment.
I know, but other
So
people
that
would
argument-
have.
Well, let's give KJ. Let's keep
Wait
the
a
floor
minute.
on KJ because I do want to give
My
you a
fault,
chance to
my fault,
respond.
my
Go ahead,
fault, my
KJ.
fault.
I'm surrounded on all sides by jackals and lions.
We love you, KJ. I promise, or I do.
But
You're free
book
to
of
share.
Tavo, verse 1, book of On Day 3, verse 1, chapter 1. I think that it is an authoritarian commandment, and it's very strange that a God would care that you worship him. Although, you know what? So if I may answer for you on day 3, you could say, oh, God wants you to be happy and da-da-da-da-da. That's fine. Yeah. Oh, great. Thanks, buddy.
Well, it's not about you
Yeah.
being happy. It's about you having eternal life with him.
Oh, well, see, there's a punish. So he doesn't want robots, but he punishes them with eternal death.
No, you didn't
Not
hear my
exactly
answer. You didn't hear
that.
my answer last time. Here, I'll give you an analogy if you don't mind.
Brother, here we go again.
No, here's an analogy, a real analogy. So
you know what?
it's not God sending you to damnation, like in the way you're framing it. Picture
All right.
this. Picture
All
this.
right, on day 3. Okay, so he doesn't want robots, but he's gonna shunt us off to the trash heap.
Nope.
Which
It's
is
not
what
about robots.
Listen, brother. Listen, just let me get this analogy out real quick, okay? I promise
right.
it'll put things into perspective for you and everybody else watching.
All right.
All right. So imagine, God pictures us as these people that are out here in the middle of the ocean drowning. Okay. So that's the first thing. God reaches out his hand to say, hey, I'm here to save you from your own free will. Then us, or as an atheist or whatever other religion, the religion of self, if he reaches out his hand and we do not grab his hand, that's our fault for rejecting it, not him sending us into hell arbitrarily because
couldn't he have written a more comprehensive Bible? You know, see,
What do you mean?
The problem is that all of the Klan is deeply Christian. All of
what do you mean the Klan?
Were deeply
The
Christian.
KKK, he means.
Slavery.
Okay.
Slavery was deeply influenced by Christianity, and you can say they weren't true Christians until
the Bible says
blue
they
in the face. You can say they weren't true Christians until they're blue in the face.
Well, the Bible
But
says
you
that.
have to understand.
Well, let's let KJ respond because I do want you to be able to finish the argument. KJ, go ahead.
I just, I'm sorry that I'm getting heated. I just feel alone here. Is that from an atheist perspective, that it just looks like Christianity has facilitated the most evil courses in history, even if humans would have done it anyway. It seems like Christianity did not divert course. It facilitated the worst colonial, transgression in history. Yeah, thank you.
Transgression. That's
yes.
That's how I do it.
That's fine. Like, would you use the Crusades as an example?
And the Crusades.
Okay.
And not every religion is evil. So
okay. Would you agree that? What if I told you that the majority of wars in history weren't because of religion, but over money and trading and things like that?
I hate money and trading.
It's territory disguised as
territory discussion. A lot of it's not. But besides that, first I want to give you.
I hate it. I hate selfishness.
Okay, I love it. I agree with you. I hate selfishness.
On day 3, my brother, my best friend, I will say that I don't think Christianity has helped humanity more. It might be even, or whatever Tavo is way smarter than me. He might say that and no, I'm not even joking.
Tavo's great.
I know you're saying,
but you're great too, brother.
It's worse because of
it.
You're saying it's worse because of its higher status over other religions. You're going to say, right?
Well, I mean, Christianity. Every single person was a Christian until about 80 or 90 years ago. Isaac Newton was a Christian. Martin Luther King was a Christian. Everybody was a Christian.
That's debatable, but
that is debatable.
Wait, even Charles Darwin was probably a Christian. It doesn't.
I didn't aware.
Let me ask you a question.
It's fine. It's fine. It
Well,
doesn't-
KJ, can I just ask? Are you open to the next question, or do you want to say? Is there any? I just want to make sure we're not stepping on your statements.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's go to the next question, Tavo.
I think the next point that you wanted to bring up, which was important, we kind of glossed over it, is that I'm very smart.
You are.
Oh yeah, that's weird too.
You know what? Let's talk about
No, I'm
that.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Tavo,
No.
it's those orange eyes and the beak, man.
He is so sexy.
And if you
I'm
Thanks very much.
I'm a little jealous, bro.
And if you're interested in joining the chat, the link is pinned. And just keep in mind, we do pay all our panelists per compliment.
I remember.
Oh,
Guys, it's not sponsored.
Oh, I
Tavo's the
remembered one
best.
thing though.
but I guess my question for you, KJ, was it's your favorite fake Unitarian. Sorry, I just wanted to read that real quick.
What's my favorite one?
No, I just-
While we're
reading-
taking
I
a
was
break,
reading
let me
the-
introduce Slave of Adonai. He's got a really fantastic channel. Slave of Adonai is a Trinitarian, and he called into a panel that I was on and was arguing for Unitarianism, and then he felt like he was really remiss afterwards. So, anyways, but very interesting channel. You just posted some content that I think is really interesting that I watched part of, and I've got it pinged to watch the rest of it later. But Slave of Adonai, I'm really glad that you're here. No, it's a great channel. Fantastic channel is mediocre. No, there's a lot of great content from a lot of you, and I hope to. And KJ, I would encourage you to start a channel, if nothing else, to talk about some of your fiction. I think it's
right.
It's really interesting, right? And if you wanted to do a Talking with Tavo series, we could talk about our journeys as authors. I think that'd be kind of
man.
interesting to do.
I would love that, buddy. I would love that.
KJ, do you mind if I ask you 2 questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. First of all, this has been a great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. I'm sorry if I seemed over emotional. You have to forgive me immediately because you're a Christian.
Religious trauma.
You all have to
That's
forgive
okay.
me
That's okay.
immediately because you're Christian.
Well, I'll give you.
It's
before I
religious
ask
trauma.
before I ask my 2 questions, I want to make a statement into what you just said. So true Christianity. Just so because you said something earlier about you can say they weren't true Christians and all these other things. Now, and if I said they weren't true Christians, you would tell me that that's the no true Scotsman fallacy, of course.
Exactly.
But it's only the no true Scotsman fallacy if that isn't the standard biblically which we hold to as the objective truth. That's the only time it can be the no true Scotsman fallacy.
Oh, brother.
It's true.
Oh, brother.
If I'm pulling from, but besides that,
Jesus literally says about.
so in
Well,
John,
it's
in First
clothed
John,
me.
it's First John 2:19 where he says, "If they were really of us, they would never have left us. For if they truly were of us, then they would still be with us." I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it says. But besides that, my
clothed me.
yeah. So my real question first was, aside from Christianity, you of course you're an atheist. Are you open at all to the belief in a God if you had enough evidence?
Yes. So, okay, technically I am an agnostic. So
You're an agnostic atheist, right?
Agnostic.
Agnostic.
That
Explain
means you're
that to me.
open.
IG gnostic.
Okay. Okay.
It is. I am an atheist, depending on your definition of God.
You're an atheist. Okay.
So
So
you're
what
open.
are you? So are you closer to? Well, you're still not a theist at all, though, right?
It depends on your definition of God.
All right. So there's deist and there's theist. What definition of God would you believe in then? That's kind of a.
Well, let me, in my deft way, turn the question on you. What is a God? What is on day 3? What is a definition of a God without using the word God in your definition? And I have a very simple answer. It's dumb. But what is
What is a
God
God definition?
in definition for you?
Without pulling from the Christian paradigm, I would say a being regarded as divine that possesses authority, worthiness of worship, power beyond ordinary created things.
So I love there's only one part in that I love, because power, I don't worship power. I don't care at all about power.
No, I don't care. You don't have to worship power. I'm saying that's what God would be in my paradigm.
But why would power enter into? There's only one.
Because you
party
have to be
that-
powerful if you cause the entire universe. Something.
Why-
When you mean
why-
power, do you mean like the power to create things? Sorry for
Yes,
interrupting.
correct.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't mean power as like, oh, I could strike you with a lightning
Yeah,
bolt.
no.
He means power of like, I could create
Creation.
cosmos and the earth and
Yeah.
all these things.
Which
So-
power?
Why would
The
that be
evil
God?
power?
Let's let Kajek answer, because I just don't want to. I want to make sure people aren't. I want to make sure he has plenty of airtime. And if there's any other, I know Max has been quiet for a while. Max, if you want to say anything
Max
in
is
defense,
just taking it in.
yeah,
Well, I would kind of go back a bit to something earlier just to clarify something,
Wait,
if that's
course.
okay.
Of course.
yeah. Go ahead.
Because earlier you said that people who were like doing slave trade weren't true Christians because they fell short of a standard. Is that correct?
Not exactly. No, I would say that they were not true Christians. They held that you can hold the title and say you're a Christian while at the same time not
True.
actually being one.
So what
Um,
would make them not a Christian?
What would make them not a Christian if they were living? And this is obviously from
Living
my
life
objective
held
standard of
against
truth.
Christ.
Not exactly. I wouldn't say that, because a true Christian still can technically commit acts of sin. My
Yeah.
definition of what a true Christian is will be somebody that doesn't live in willful, unrepentant sin. And the reason and what that means is someone that's living in unrepentant sin is doing acts against another group of people or another person, while at the same time not caring about it and just continuing to do it without feeling any type of remorse.
Literally fake.
Yeah.
And would
so
it make a
that's-
difference if they understood what they were doing was wrong, or if they actually thought it was right?
And it makes it worse.
if they thought
actually.
if they thought it was right, I mean that just shows that they didn't have a repentant heart about the situation.
See, there is no true Christian. Everyone.
Whoa, that's not what I
That's
said.
what I
Well,
would.
On
There
Max-
are none at all.
not like them. They're not a Christian.
Can I
Um,
That's
that
not what I
is the
said.
whole
That's not what I
problem.
said. I said unrepentant heart.
If on
versus-
day 3 disagrees with how
Give me
they
a moment.
live their life, they're
No.
not a Christian
Not
anymore.
what I said. That's not.
You know what?
Don't
It's
hear.
how-
Try not
as
to
a
hear what I'm not. Try not to
non-Christian-
hear what I'm not saying.
one second. I'm gonna look up that verse.
Okay. Try not to
Now,
hear what I'm
now,
not
on
saying.
day
please.
3, you're great, man. I love you, but
Uh-huh.
there's a problem here.
Listen. Try not to hear what I'm not saying. I'm never going to look at somebody that may have slept around on their wife and tell them that they are not a true Christian because they're not living like I am. That's not what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
It's an
I'm-
identity. It is an
I-
identity.
Okay, I found it.
Okay, listen.
It is an identity. If someone claims to be a Christian, you cannot investigate that claim any further. They are a Christian. Trump is a Christian.
Listen,
Pat
is not-
Robertson is a Christian.
No, they're
Tavo is a
Christian. They are
Christian.
Christians
They
by
claim to be Christian.
what they say. Correct. They are Christians by what they say. Now let me explain one more time, because I don't want anybody to hear what I'm not saying. You can never, and you are right about this. You cannot truly know someone's heart posture, right? You can't measure that. So you can't look at somebody and say, since they're doing this, they are not a true Christian. My point in the matter of saying how I can justify, let's use people in the KKK or people that did the Crusades as not true Christians is not based in how they're living their lives. It's based on the continued action of what they're doing with no remorse. That shows that they do not actually have a true regenerated heart, is what I'm trying to talk about. And that's what unrepentant means.
You know, let me cut through the argument a little bit here. First, let me do some homework and just say, Chris brings up that the relevant passage is Matthew 25, 36 through 40.
I looked it up.
Yeah, if you want to put that quote in the channel. TNC Apologetics is a really great channel again.
All right, I'll copy and paste. One sec.
Yeah, so oops, let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, that way we see the names. Okay. Asked who's Christian, who's not on this panel. So Kajek is an atheist, Max is an atheist, Small Hat is a Baptist, Chris is Christian, and One Day 3 is Christian. And I'm not differentiating Christian from Baptist. I'm just saying no other denominational thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, I mean, here's my point. And let me just change the format here really quick. Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm still getting used to using some of these buttons here. So it's not really 3v3. Just so you know, Slave. It's not really. It's Kajek and Max versus one day 3 Chris and Small Hat, and that's
It's
why
it's not even really like verses.
It's mostly
either.
KJ.
It's kind of just it's KJ and me talking mostly, and other people are chiming in.
That's true
It's
too.
me versus the world.
No, that's true too. But my
And
point,
I'm
my
holding
point
my
is,
own.
my point is, I am specifically trying to not say too much because I don't want to because I think there is an interesting conversation here happening between KJ and one day 3, but other people are chiming in too. But I definitely don't want KJ to feel outnumbered, so I'm mostly chiming in to point out comments that are popping up in the comment section, and I'm chiming in to hopefully, pop off with some areas of consensus. Now, KJ, just one more point. I want to distill your argument down a little bit because I think the argument is really an indictment on your part that Christians are not more moral.
I did it.
Now, I've given 2 sociological arguments that suggest that that's at least marginally, incrementally, probably not true. That there's at least some evidence that Christians are more moral, which mitigates the strength of that argument. But here's my other question to KJ, because I think that a lot of your criticisms are based on the Old Testament, and I'm just for informational purposes. Is there anything in the New Testament that you would similarly say like this is false, this is wrong, this is not good?
So I do think that the Old Testament is very problematic, but I also think that Jesus does not throw away the Old Testament. Now, it is heresy to throw away the Old Testament.
I agree that he doesn't throw away the Old Testament, but that's there's a different nuance in that.
Say again on day 3.
I agree that Jesus didn't throw away the Old Testament. It's a nuanced conversation.
He put it in okay, fine. He put it in a new context. It's it's not enough to get me. It's not an interesting enough ethical position to get me to get me over the line, especially with my political my political considerations. You guys would flip when I told you who I voted for the last 3 times. You would be like, "What? You did not vote for Trump?" And I would say I didn't. And
no, not Trump.
Who knows? Who knows who I voted for?
Who did you vote for? I'll take the bait.
Hillary,
okay,
Joe, and then Kamala.
I don't find that surprising.
I know I'm going to hell for that.
But KJ, nobody said you're going to hell for that, though, KJ.
I'm going to hell. I'm going
to hell. Not. Nobody would say. God wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that you're going to hell no matter what.
KJ,
but certainly not for your voting record.
Can I ask you a question? Not a personal, but kind of personal question.
Sure.
Were you brought up in Christianity at all ever?
No.
Okay, so did you ever see quote unquote Christians in your lifetime that said they were these holier than thou people, but they lived a certain way?
All the time, brother.
Okay.
All the time.
That's all I was asking. So I think my conversation with you specifically isn't even regard to, well, I do want to answer about the Old Testament because I think you have a problem with the Amalekites and the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and stuff, right?
Oh, the Old Testament is crazy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll talk about that point, but I don't even think my conversation with you would be like, oh, I need KJ to be a Christian. My conversation would be with you to justify the existence. My conversation with you
is for saving.
I know. Listen, my conversation with you would more so be to start off, and this is what I do with all atheists. I don't even try to convert them to Christianity or talk to them about Christianity. I try to narrow them down to the existence of a God. And then we can decide which God is true. But we have to narrow that down first before we go anywhere else.
Agreed.
So now, but about the Amalekites thing, you have a problem. I forgot the verse off the top of my head, but where God orders the killing of all the men, the women, and the babies, right?
Oh, geez. The Old Testament, I have
but that's the main thing,
thousands of problems with. Just Google Old Testament and contradictions.
Have you read the Bible from cover to cover?
Google Bible contradictions.
I remember everything.
There's not a single Bible contradiction. I'd gladly talk to you about that, but that's beside the point.
Okay. I'm here. I go to Google. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Bible contradiction.
Well, let's focus. Yeah, let's focus the discussion a little bit more. Yeah, so I think we're talking about the Amalekites. I think that's like Samuel 15 or something.
Oh yeah. No. Oh, on day 3. I got you now.
Okay,
you now on day 3. You said there's no contradictions in the Bible?
No, there's not.
What an insane insane
Well,
statement.
you know, I would actually
all right,
rather
here
we
we
keep
go.
the
Here we go,
discussion
buddy.
focused.
Tavo's the
Strap in.
host.
Strap in.
Hold on.
Statement, God is jealous. Bible verse,
KJ.
Exodus 20,
KJ,
25.
KJ, listen.
Contradictory statement, God is void of jealousy. Proverbs 6:34. Go ahead, explain it all. Explain. No, you have on day 3. You have to say the Bible has contradictions. You have to say that.
It doesn't.
No
but
text
beside the
written
point.
by
We will get
humans.
to that. I promise we will get to that.
Context.
No.
Well, okay,
text.
wait a second. Let me interject again. KJ, there is a question on the floor that you've asked. So, do you want to sort of frame that question?
Remind me, Tavo.
I think you're asking about the contradiction. One says God is jealous in Genesis and in
Oh
Psalm.
no, I was just clowning on day 3. You can Google it and just see dozens and dozens and dozens of contradictions. And it does not mean that your religion is wrong. It just means that there are contradictions in the Bible, which is fine.
I hear what you're saying, but there's not. But that's beside the point.
Whoa, just Google it, man. Just Google it.
I've read the Bible. I've from cover to cover, and I've answered every contradiction that there could possibly be.
Wow, you're the first.
Well, KJ, what's your favorite? What's
your favorite? Give me your favorite contradiction. Let's go to that. I guess.
Oh, geez. I don't care about that right now. There's too many. No,
Okay.
no. Seriously, Google it. I do not care. I find the story of Job to be horrendous. I find the story of Lot to be horrendous.
Let's take each one because I'm kind of interested in this. So
we want to go Amalekites, Job, Lot. What do we want to do?
It's all terrible.
Let Small Hat answer.
Can I also can I say something?
Yeah, good, Small Hat.
Sorry, guys, I apologize.
Sorry. So in the Old Testament, you know the story of Jonah. So basically, there's this mass city. This city was filled with terrible people. Just to put in contrast of like how bad of the people were in a lot of those cities. These cities would like eat babies and sacrifice people to false gods and all these things. And God still decided to show mercy and sent Jonah, which is, in my opinion, the worst prophet because he rebelled, but that's not related to the situation. He sent Jonah to go save them, even though they've rebelled against him and have done constant things like murder and a lot more despicable things, which I don't even know if I'm allowed to say on YouTube. So if he's willing to spare those people, just imagine the people that he didn't spare.
So, okay. Can I, Tavo, I know this is your channel and your anniversary, and I love you. You're great, but can I answer that question?
Yeah, go ahead, for sure.
I find also the story of Noah to be problematic. God killed everyone. Now, God is smarter than all of us. He's even smarter than Tavo, although that's debatable. The problem with Noah is that he killed everyone. Now, couldn't there have been some other response to that? Now, I know that I do not expect you to have an answer that's better than a hypothetical God, but it just seems to me that this God is killing everyone when they fail his moral standards.
Well, I would like to answer that one actually, because that's one that I actually have very strong feelings about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I think even the Christian teaching on the Book of Noah is deeply flawed, as is the Jewish teaching. To me, from a neutral lens, when I read the story of Noah, to me it's an allegory, and the point of the allegory is this: if humankind is evil, if humankind transgresses, we pollute the earth to a degree that all forms of life have to be wiped out to balance the scales. In other words, humans can be evil to a degree that means that our evilness will cause suffering that's global. Now, to me, that is the most poignant lesson in the Old Testament, and I really love it, and I wish we would emphasize it more. Because if you look at our society today, when I was much younger, I was a very strident environmental activist. Now, my big problem with politics is I feel like no sides are really advocating for the environment. But one of my major indictments for Christianity is there is sort of a repudiation of the need to advocate for the environment. And if you look around our world, what's happened? We've become very evil. And who is suffering the consequences of our evil? All living things. It's as though we've taken that central lesson from Noah and flushed it down the toilet. Now, as I've told you, I believe that many stories in the Old Testament are really more allegorical than literal. But to me, if I look at the story of Noah, the story of the flood, I would imagine that you don't think that these are actually things that actually happen, KJ. But my point is, what is the moral of that story? If it has any moral, I think the moral is when humans are evil, it's the entire world that pays the punishment for that evilness. And what have we seen borne out 2,000 or 2,000+ years later? What we've seen borne out is that we've become very evil, right? We've let corporations and sociological, pathological, expropriation of profit motivation run rampant so much on the world that every ecosystem has been decimated by human activity. So I think that's the lesson. I think it's ignored by all sides of the debate.
Do you see all how many hundreds of IQ points Tavo is above me? And and this just goes. I love his interpretation. That's not what. Of course, the Bible doesn't. The Bible is dumber than Tavo. Really, honestly, that interpretation that Tavo just gave is way smarter than what I hear from Christians on
Tavo, who made the interpretation.
Here, I'll give you an answer. Tavo's interpretation is correct because he read the story and understood the story. There are Christians that don't know the Bible. 90% of Christians haven't read the Bible. That's the problem. But I would agree with everything Tavo said. I don't know whether or not the story of Noah is allegorical or true, but regardless of either way, I know in Genesis 6, it says that Yahweh saw that the evil of man was great in the earth and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, echoing what Tavo just said. And then it says that now...
Honestly, on day 3, Tavo didn't say that humans are fundamentally evil. Do you believe, Tavo?
Not what I'm saying.
I'm not saying fundamentally evil.
I'm just echoing what he said. Let me finish.
No, that's a.
Okay. No, let's let one day finish his thought.
Yeah. So the earth was corrupt before God. Was Tavo not echoing that as time has gone on for these 2,000+ years that we're evil?
Wait a minute.
Right?
I disagree. I disagree that. So I'm a Tavoist. I'm a deep Tavoist.
I love it. I love Tavo.
And he gave us this holy text. And
okay, I got to say it at least once. Don't anyone be a Tavoist. I am a mess. Theologically, I'm a mess. Moralistically, I'm a mess. Please don't anyone.
Sorry.
Well, Tavo is it's just like in South Park where God was a Buddhist. The whole thing that Tavo was saying, I don't think that he believes that humans are irreconcilably evil. Like, that's a weird. Evil implies that we cannot help but do evil things no matter what. I think evil implies sin, which I do not believe in. Sin. The definition of sin on day 3. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There's a few definitions.
But sin is falling short of somebody else's, God's in this case, standards, right?
Not exactly. I can explain that too.
All right.
There's 3 definitions of sin. There's 3 definitions of sin.
Here we go again,
brother. If we have to have a fruitful conversation, we gotta listen to each other.
But sin is selfishness, pure and simple.
So sin.
I bet you
the definition.
Disagree on that too.
No, we didn't disagree. I'm saying there's 3 definitions of sin in the Bible. One definition of sin, as you just said, is transgression against the law. Okay.
Wait a minute. I did not say that. I said falling short of
someone's standard. God's standard
someone
is
else set for you.
Correct. God's standard in the Bible is the law that's laid out. That's my point. So that's the first definition. Then there's a definition of sin in the Bible that is rooted in your identity. Sin is an identity that is written on people, not necessarily only transgression against God's law. It's within us already. So that's the 2-part. I'll just use that as a 2-part. There's a 2-part definition to sin, not just a single part of, oh, you didn't live up to this standard, so you're being damned to hell, basically, as you were framing earlier. But more on the Noah's flood story that I wanted to jump to. The flood is not just God murdering innocent people. It is the judge of all the earth, judging a world filled with violence and evil. So if God never judges evil, people such as yourself would call him unjust. But when he does judge evil, you would call him cruel, and you can't have it both ways.
Monster paradox.
So wait a minute. I'm not saying that people are perfect, and I'm not saying that that anyone has, that even God, the creator of the universe, if the creator of the universe said, I don't like you, therefore I'm going to kill you, I don't think that is a morally I don't think that's a standard that makes sense, makes reasonable sense. Just because he created all things, some is good.
You would agree that people that are murdering, raping, or graping, I'm so sorry, Tavo, and all these other things, do you agree that they should have a moral type of judgment placed upon them, or no?
Ultimate dominion.
I do not. I was asked a question. I do not agree with the death penalty in all cases. I do not.
But what
agree
about
with
in the
It's
case?
it's probably worth interjecting to say that, yeah, I think the advice that I'm finding online is SAing.
Okay, I'll do that.
Is probably the
I
best
apologize.
phraseology to use.
So
I know it wasn't intentional. I probably won't bleep it out just because this is a really long video. But
Yeah,
if anyone really wants to use that phraseology again, I think the graping word
too close
is too close. Yeah, exactly. That YouTube thinks it's the other word.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'll say SAing, and I'll call it unaliving with unjust cause.
I don't know why we can't call things evil that are evil.
It's because
you could call gloping.
But that's my point. That's my point.
No,
So
it's because.
do you agree that those? Do you agree that those are
capitalism doesn't
worthy?
want you to draw attention? No, I do not agree with the death penalty in all cases. I agree with it in very limited cases.
That's my point. So the cases I just brought up to you, though.
But no, I don't think that calls for the death penalty.
Okay.
And so
what about? Okay.
Go ahead.
We're getting close to 2 hours in, so let me just give the gospel of Jesus. I really appreciate the kind words.
Please do.
This person found me on some other podcast that I hopped on, which was really one of my favorite conversations. So, but give the gospel of Jesus, says like, share, subscribe, thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. We just crossed over 750 subscribers today. That's really nice because we're a new channel. This is our 1 year anniversary, so this is our 1 year celebration. And what I've done is I've kind of collected the thumbnails of my favorite videos. So I will sort of like put these up later, and later on we can just kind of go through them. We're getting close to 2 hours, so I'll probably like start winding down at about 2 hours, and I'll go through some of those fun thumbnails. Just so people check out the content.
I'm going to say goodnight, Tavo. I'm going to let you promote your channel. Thank you very much on day 3 and Tavo for the lively discussion.
Thank you for talking to me, brother. I appreciate it.
Oh, can I interject?
Kajak, why don't we do this, Kajak? Let's have like an author discussion, and we can talk about the tribulations of like fictional novelization and writing and being an author, and it can be like a one-off thing that we'll do a talking with Tavo, and we don't even have to debate anything, because your books are really good. I'd be happy to shine a light on it. I think it's not yet available for the public. Is it? Is that correct?
It's still in the first draft, but I haven't received any major plot hole or edits yet. But I would love to talk about it off channel. Yeah, for sure.
We'll have it, or we'll do it on channel. We'll do talking with Tavo. We don't have to have an open public panel, but I appreciate you being here, and
that'd be great.
Thanks for the kind word too. Kajak, before you go, why don't you give a bit of a closing statement, and then we'll do another round of closing statements afterwards.
Sure. Atheism is not an argument. It is merely the rejection of a claim. That claim is that there is a God, and the atheist is unconvinced that a God exists. Now, beyond that, you can say, well, I'm unconvinced that a Christian God exists, which is in Islam. Islam, Hindus, Buddhists, Muslims, none of them believe, they are unconvinced of the Christian position, and the Christian is unconvinced of their position. So an atheist is just an easier position from that. So I would say, don't ever be afraid of debating an atheist. They are taking the easiest position. The easiest position is, I'm not buying it. And that's why you should always debate an atheist and come at them with the strongest evidence you have. Because when you do, you're saving us from the lakes of fire and the holy tormentations and the lamentations of our women. Thank you very much.
Sure. One last thing, KJ, that I
can I-
want to say is, just one really quick last thing is, you
Yes.
kind of blew my mind last week when you said that you've been going to a Bible discussion group.
Yes.
So I would ask that you put my personal a posteriori experiential argument to the test. I went to a church a few times and they told me I was going to hell and I didn't go back to that church.
Wow,
But
it's
I've-
terrible.
Yeah, but I've since found a really lovely community. And I feel like within that community, every day that I take a step closer to Jesus, my life does get a little bit better, a little more full, and I appreciate the beauty of the universe more. So I would suggest that since you just started, you've been on my mind since you said that, and I just would suggest keep being open-minded to just taking in the universe through that lens, because it really has, for whatever it's worth, even though I'm still theologically non-committed myself, I really feel like it has been a personally enriching journey. And I do wish for you the same. I felt like I didn't have the chance to say that last week.
Thank you very much, Tavo.
Oh,
Honestly, seriously, thank you very much. And I'm still going. It's a progressive church, and they always view the Bible lessons in a communitarian type of context, where they believe that the Bible is trying to include everyone. And I always, in line with Tavoism, argue that it's always a marketing scheme and can be interpreted in any way you want. Praise be.
can I answer Noah's Ark? What I think about the justice thing?
That's fine. Yeah, KJ, you drop off whenever you want. But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
The whole point. Well, you was talking about the death sentence, correct? How you said it's not justified by any means. Isn't this kind of a monster paradox? If somebody were to not to exercise their authority to stop evil where it is, would you be suggesting to give ultimate authority to corruption that's overlaying the land? Would somebody? Oh, he's out. But I was just curious.
I think great question, by the way, Chris. I think my question that I did want to ask him before he jumped off was, I don't think the real question is, why did God judge? I think the real question is, why did God save anyone at all? Because in the story, the miracle isn't that evil was judged. It's that mercy was
again.
offered through the ark. That's what I would say.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Go ahead, KJ. There's a couple of questions, so I'll let you answer, KJ, because I know your time is probably really limited at this point.
It's not. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I missed. Chris, can you ask your question again? I'm sorry.
What is your opinion of death sentence apparent to a deity's job? What do you think? What do you think in general a deity's job to do when faced with such a situation? If you were in God's position, what would you do in the Noah's Ark situation?
So my position on the death penalty really fast is, if you can keep them confined in a prison and have them do no real damage to the world outside, then you don't need to kill them. Killing them is not a deterrent. That's that's just the literature says it's not.
I understand mainly, but if you were God, though, what would you do to help the earth instead of, as you say, not do a Noah's Ark?
Well, couldn't we confine them somewhere else? I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm not God yet. So that's my first thought is that God, death, killing all, and also the flood if you're not taking it allegorically, if you're taking it allegorically, okay.
You mean literally?
We can have a separate discussion.
No, he means allegorically. He means allegorically.
I don't know what the word means. That's why I say it.
Oh, as a metaphor. Long story short.
Okay.
Allegory and metaphor. Well, okay. So did so we're not saying that God killed all freshwater fish because you couldn't bring. This is an insane. He killed all life on Earth, including these moderately. They were eating children. They were slapping children. They were
doing the worst.
Technologists. They were, these people were terrible. I still think God could have had some other solution than destroying all life on Earth. Although, let me, if you're saying it's a metaphor, maybe he didn't kill all life on Earth. He only killed the bad people.
How would that work for myself?
Sure. Let's go there. That I think is a more reasonable interpretation. Although
what is bad and what is good, though?
The text, I'm not even gonna approach that on day 3. Okay. I think that saying that it's an allegory is. I think that it's that when you read it, it doesn't seem like an allegory. It seems crazy, which is why you might think it's an allegory, which is fine. Okay. Which parts of the Bible are not an allegory is what I would say then. And then prove that it's not an allegory, which is, kind of impossible to prove that a text is not allegorical is, that's my problem with saying that a part of the Bible is allegorical.
Well, I think my point is that is there a good message in the allegory? Sure. I know there's let's
sure.
say there's
Tavo, your interpretation is better than anything I've ever heard. That doesn't mean it's correct. It's better. You are smarter than the Bible. What does that tell you?
Okay. I really appreciate the compliments and the kind words. But in all seriousness, I am as dumb as I'm really good at what I do. I don't want anyone to
see how humble he is?
No, it's not humility.
See how humble he is?
It's easy to be humble when you suck. That's all right. I know there are some comments in the chat. I'm happy to go through at least some of them. Wes Curry had a bunch of comments, so none of them are Christian. Not even one of you.
What's that mean?
Well, I think the next comment was from Small Hat saying, "What do you mean?"
There was only one Christian, and he died on the cross.
Yeah, that's a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche. Fascinating quote, by the way. Yeah. So Wesley Curry, you're welcome to expound on that.
I'm kind of confused.
But yes, that was the main thing I wanted to talk to you about, because the whole point of being a divine being, he tries to stop evil like straight up out of the spot before it infests anything that's good at that point. Like, trying to save what he can. Like, that's the whole point of Noah's Ark. He didn't want to do it. It was like it was like the nuclear bomb of the world, so to speak. That's how I looked at it. Like, he didn't want it to happen, but it got so corrupt and there was nothing else he could do because free will already ate all the good. So Noah and his family, although Noah warned everybody.
I think even deeper than that, Noah's flood shows two things at once. It shows that God is patient, and it shows that he's not passive. He gives time for us to repent, but evil doesn't get the final word. That's the point.
Well, yep.
Why didn't he stop the slave trade? Why didn't he stop the Klan? Why didn't he stop the Confederacy?
If God stopped every evil problem, we wouldn't have learned anything.
Would you believe in God if that happened?
He killed everybody.
As much.
In Noah's story, he killed everyone.
Okay, listen, that's the point. That's the point I brought up earlier. Like, if God, you have two things, like I mentioned earlier. You call him unjust for not stopping all the evil, but then you'll call him cruel if he does judge all the evil. But you can't have it both ways.
I think that's a paradox with you, my friend. I think that's a paradox on your position. I think God is.
What about because I've never heard anyone respond well to this argument. A lot of people who say God should not permit evil actions. When I ask them the question, I say, would you want a chip in your brain that prevents you from doing any evil, that always compels you to make a moral decision? Almost everyone says no to that thought experiment. So why can you put a standard up against God that you yourself would not want for yourself and that no human would want for themselves? In other words, you're saying, why didn't God prevent
All
this
right, I
evil?
put
Why doesn't God
something.
interject to prevent evil? But you would not want a God like that. God, like, and therefore it's sort of reasonable to assume that there's something in our nature that resists that.
I agree. So I'm not asking for God to force us to be good. I think that there is a standard of not like so I'm not saying I want God to stop us from, although Noah's Ark is a weird story that I'm not even going to touch anymore because I'm just hearing it's an allegory. Okay.
I think it's
I'm not going
literal.
to touch it. It's fine.
I think
I'm
either
glad we
way-
talked about it for what it's worth. I'm
think
really glad that we had that
allegorical-
conversation.
It's an allegory, whatever.
I think
You
either way, it
escaped-
doesn't
You
matter.
escaped my wrath. I'm not going to flood you today. So what I'm going to say is I don't want a chip in my brain, but I do want
chip.
to.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm so
Well,
sorry for interrupting.
I think Tavo has a great question here.
That's true.
What is the band? There's a band of free will, so to speak.
I have an amazing answer to what you're saying
Of
about
where-
this, by the way.
Go ahead on day 3. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So another thing is, I don't know why I didn't bring this up, but the ark is
Pile
also
on.
Oh, the ark is also a picture of Christ, and what I mean by that is, it's the same thing as belief in Christ. The ark is a picture of salvation. The judgment that God enacted was real, but God provided one singular way of rescue. Those who entered would live, and those who rejected perished by the flood. There was an opportunity for everybody to be saved if they put their faith in him.
See, okay, I'm going to answer on day 3's statement first. If that interpretation of the text was true, there would be 0 Jewish people alive today. They would all be Christian. So that interpretation has some flexibility in it, which makes it a variable interpretation, which makes it open to interpretation, which makes the Bible open to interpretation.
Well,
So
I would
just
recommend
want to say-
reading.
hold on a
in
minute.
context.
Hold on day 3. I know you think the Jewish scholars are all wrong, and you can debate them all you want.
Hey, I've turned a few.
Not care. I do not care. You obviously think they're wrong, or else they would be Christian. So your interpretation of the allegory of I love it. No, on day 3, your interpretation of the ark is awesome. I'm not buying into it, but it's a great interpretation that is open. It's a textual interpretation, which is fun. Now, Tavo's what was Tavo's question even? I'm sorry, Tavo.
Well, let me interject here because we're up over 2 hours. I think we'll probably wind it down now. But what I'd like to do is kind of transition by giving everybody sort of a minute for a closing statement, and then I'll do like a sign out. But I do want to, if that's okay, I know you guys are in the middle of a really, really fascinating conversation. There's a comment on the screen from Mainline Mindset, which I haven't heard from before. So thanks for being on the channel. If you like the conversation, please subscribe. We've got 3 cute animals, owl, dog, and fox. And so far in our survey, the dog is coming out as the cutest. So that's progress. That's progress in my mind. And it's a pit bull. And
they are unenlightened as to the fox mentality.
well, all I say is Anthrofox and stuff are cool.
Again, we're up over 2 hours. There are some private chat questions that I probably won't be able to get to, but I really appreciate the questions in private chat. And just so you know, if those people have asked me questions in the private chat, I will try and address some of those questions. I'd be happy to host KJEC and on day 3, like a 1v1 debate. I think.
Of course.
Oh, thanks very much, Mainline Mindset. I was on Redeemed Zoomers channel, and we were talking about the CTF argument. So thanks very much. Let's give it to the room now. Let's each do maybe a 1-minute brief closing statement, and you can and then I'll probably bring it to a close because we are up over 2 hours now at this point, and it really has been a really wonderful conversation. But I want to make sure that I do some other things that I have to get done before the evening starts. But let's turn it over to KJEC first for closing statement. And I gave you two closing statements, KJX, so because you're outnumbered.
Right. Right. Yeah. So yeah, here I am again. Atheism is not a it is a position. It is not an argument. It's merely the rejection of an argument. And the reason I say that is because the theist has the burden of proof that a God exists, and then if you're religious, if you're not just the first step is deist. Something created the universe, and I guess that's God, which is uninspiring. It is not very interesting. The religious person has to say, oh, that thing that created the universe is good, omniscient, omnipotent. These are all claims that add extra pressure. Now, the theist can just say, the atheist, can just say, I'm not buying it, which is it's a very easy position to take, which is why I take it. It's a very it doesn't explain anything. It does not explain where the universe comes from. I do not claim to know where the universe comes from. The theist has the burden of proof, and I know they hate it. I know they want to shift it to me. My answer to where the universe came from is I don't know. I do not know. And I just wanted to say that I have a fantasy anthro book that explores kind of the tension of religion. The gods in my book are real. So not that your God isn't. I would never say that. I'm a weird little guy, and I have 14 subscribers and 0 videos. So thank you for having me on, Tavo. You've done a great year, and you're awesome.
That's very kind of you to say. As always, it's been a great conversation, and we'll get you. I'm happy to do. We don't have to do everything theological and debatey. Like, I'm happy to have you on. We'll talk about the book. It's a good read. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, you'll dig into my book a little bit next time we chat. But I mean, no pressure. I know you got a lot going on. So let's give it over to Small Hat next.
Oh shoot, I feel like the main character now. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to say thank you for letting me on. I'm sorry that I didn't contribute a lot to this conversation. I think on day 3 and K-Jack presented amazing points, and Chris chiming in was also really cool. Max, a few things you brought up were also interesting, and I would just recommend, if you guys have any questions, to read the Bible, read the context, and look into all these things. And yeah, that's all I have to say. And God bless.
Small Hat, so glad you joined the conversation. I really really appreciate it. TNC says, all in favor for Tavo for streaming for 4 hours, say aye. I do. I probably cannot. I'm happy to do a little bit longer streams in the future. Tonight, I definitely can't because Jackie is, we have some plans with Jackie tonight, who narrated a video. Jackie will be on it with us again. But Small Hat, I'm really glad that you joined the conversation. That really is wonderful. All right.
That is actually a hard question to answer.
Let's go over to Chris now.
I'm trying. Well, to me, what do I even put in my statement? I can't even think of some. All I say is, well, there's none to really prove on God and stuff. It's more of coming down to, he says he needs evidence and stuff. I can't really think of anything to prove it other than, sorry, things are coming up blank at the moment. Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, it's no one here is required to but let's
evidence is a hard thing to prove anyway. I was thinking to myself, how does someone prove something if in their point of view it's a big empty void when you think about it? I don't know. It's like one of those things, a conundrum. Like, how does someone really prove something that's, in their point of view, that doesn't exist? How do they prove it? The burden of proof would be on my end. All that comes down to is proof by actions throughout scripture that's reliable to nowadays, which in my opinion is the 10 Commandments in their own right. And then what's a true Christian to a fake Christian? Well, what a fake Christian, they would mostly focus on themselves instead of clothing, feeding, anything that's able to help another person instead of focusing on their own thing, even if they had nothing to gain out of it. In my opinion, that'd be a true Christian. It's hard to really explain it, but it's entirely selfless. That's how you would know the difference. But in my opinion, having the burden to prove is all I could say is that it's like trying to prove the void until you actually understand what's the spiritual part of it is. You get me?
Well, I think that's a really good point. Now, Sambo Mahmood wants to join the chat, and we're probably not going to be online for that much longer. But does anyone want to drop out so we can make room for him? And we'll probably close the chat pretty soon after that. But I don't think he's ever been on our panel before. Okay, all right. So let me bring up Sambo Mahmood, and we'll let you make a kind of an opening statement, Sambo. And I apologize that we're getting you on pretty late. I stream every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'll be on next Monday at 5. But anything you want to say, Sambo? Really?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
I'm
hear
here.
you.
Yeah, like I said, Alhamdulillah, God, He give me everything. I smash everybody. So basically, the Creator has, and Allah is the Creator, man. And what you need to look at is all the greatest fighters in the world now, like Muhammad Ali and that. Allah exists.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's getting late, and I won't be on super long. But I'm happy to. If you want to have a more engaged conversation, I'll be back next Monday at 5 Pacific Standard Time, and I appreciate you joining. And I don't. And well, let's keep going with the closing statements. Who's not given one yet? We heard from Chris. Did we hear from Max?
Let's hear from Max.
Well, I guess Kajek did a good job arguing. I didn't really defend my side much in this conversation.
What was your side?
Like, I would say non-religious more so than a strongly atheist position, but sort
like
of
an agnostic theist, kind of.
I hope I worded it right.
Something like that. I would say just like not really sure, but I'm not like convinced of most of the main religions.
Kajek says Kajek did amazing here. 5 out of 10.
Is that the number we're arguing again?
Oh, that was awesome.
5 out of 10. Thanks very much. This is our 1-year show, so it's our 1-year live stream. But I'm online every Monday, 5 p.m. And so, Sambo, I hope you join again at some point.
Yeah.
Let's give it over to. I think we're now to one. And by the way, Max, you've had really insightful commentaries. And I owe you another email response, Max. So I will respond.
I think the email was like one of the days I picked was today, which is obviously I should have realized that Monday you have something else planned anyway.
No, let's do a chat though. I hope we'll have a chat coming up, Max. I really do hope we do that. Yeah. Okay. Let me turn it back over to 1 day 3.
First, I need to say, Tavo, I need you to email me so we can set up a live together. That's the first thing.
I'd love that. Yeah. Do I have your email?
I have my email on my channel, but I can put it in the chat so you guys have it too.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'll look on your channel if you don't want to share your email too. My email is just dr for doctor and then my name @gmail. So, but I'll look on your channel as well, and I'll definitely. I think we're going to do something for dinner, and then I'll come back and I'll email you, and I'll have some time after that. So
sounds good, brother. But
and then Sambo, do you want to have any closing statement? Do you want to like offer a closing statement?
Oh wait, no. I just.
Sorry. 1 day 3. 1 day 3. I'm sorry, I stepped on your closing statement. Please.
Fine.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the discourse and conversations today. That was awesome. Again, it says on day 3 on there, but my name's Gavin. I just wanted to say this was one of the best and most a great fruitful conversation to have with anybody that I'm talking to, which is always my goal. I am a Christian apologist. My channel on day 3, of course, I say I expose false gospels. I host live debates where I do the debating myself. I also am recently, I'm a big anime nerd, so I'm actually going to start posting history, Christian history times anime parallels, which is actually a pretty cool thought process that I wanted to go through. But I just want to let everybody know that Tavo is a great guy. Continue to follow him. Continue to subscribe to him. Whoever sees this right now and whoever sees it after, definitely keep him going, because I see nothing but goodness coming from your channel and continued growth for all people.
Oh, that's super kind.
Speaking of that,
Sambo, let's go to you now for a closing statement.
Yeah. Yeah, great channel, really good. You know, I was welcome well. You know, just got in here, so you know,
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
even know
sorry.
what the topic was.
I'm
Didn't
sorry.
even know what the topic was. I just thought I'd come in and have a chat with you guys.
No, and we hope we chat again more. Thanks for the kind
Yeah,
words, Small Hat.
definitely.
I'll
You know.
always try to answer your comments, Small Hat. So feel free to ask me anything in the comment. By the way,
Yeah.
some of your
So what's the
comments.
topic? What's the topic?
Oh, the main topic is just that this is my 1 year anniversary. So I was actually gonna go through, like, I put up all my videos, and I was gonna go through all my, like, the big videos that I've had this year, the best videos, and just kind of go through them. We didn't really get to do that, but I might be.
Okay, in religion and that, right?
I've had a whole bunch of theological videos over the
Mm.
last year that I put up. Yeah, I check out some of the videos. I think you'll be particularly interested in the CTF argument. Yeah, I think you'll like that.
I'm a Muslim.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think you'll like that argument. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I've had a couple of people that I've debated in that.
I would
You know,
love.
I went to a Catholic school.
His
You know, I'm from London. I'm from the UK. Went to
I
a
would
Catholic
love to
school.
see Sambo's response to your
Yeah,
Islam
100%.
versus Christianity debate.
hey Sambo, if you don't mind. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
all
I'm
day
not
long.
taking anybody.
Ask
Love
me
that.
anything.
I want Tavo to close out cleanly, so I wanted to tell Sambo, hey Sambo, definitely check out all of Tavo's videos, information, and everything. And you said you do a lot of debates. If you ever want to go to my channel, you can, and I will gladly have an open dialogue and discussion with you about anything. So
Yeah. You know, I've had a couple of debates in that. You know, so I know about the Bible. I know about the Quran.
of course,
You know, so.
All right, love that.
So yeah,
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
I've-
look, I'll just come down to one. I mean, I come down to one question, and I just settle the score. You know, I mean, the Bible is human written, okay, and the Quran is not. Yeah, you don't know whether to
Hell
believe
yeah.
the Bible, because if the Bible was like completely true, the whole world would have became Christian.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly, brother.
It started at
if the
Israel.
I'm on
Quran
your
was
side,
true,
brother.
You know, K-Check is not.
Let's talk about. We can
Yeah.
talk about that on my channel anytime.
Yeah.
I want Tavo to close out.
Yeah, we'll close out.
Yeah,
We'll close
yeah.
out really soon because I'm 20 minutes over time.
Yeah.
Sambo, if you want, check out God Logic. Really fascinating debater. But you know, the reason why
I've already spoken to him. Do you know what he did? I got in his channel.
Well,
He blocked me straight away.
In the interest of closing things down, because I'm already like 20 minutes over time. But
Yeah.
I'll just say that I created the CTF argument because I think it's more of a comparative analysis.
It's good. It's good.
Hey
You know,
guys,
I
I'm
mean-
going to drop
us
off.
Muslims are already, you know, we face
Well,
anything.
let me again. I'm really way ahead of time here, so let me just close it out now at this point. But I do recommend people checking out the argument. If you haven't already, please like this video. Please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, of course,
I'm on
100%. Because I'm on the chat now, I can't do it. So when I come off the chat, I'll tick the likes button.
I'd love that. Yeah, and this is kind of more of a broad closing statement. But I've had a really wonderful year. This is my first year on YouTube, and I hope everyone out there has the opportunity to engage more with the channel. If you haven't already, check out more of the content.
Well, I'm a security officer and I do night shifts, so I'll be on your channel every day if you want me to. I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
We'd love that. I didn't get the chance to go through some of the videos in greater detail, but I did have
I'll check out your videos.
Yeah, sure. And I guess the closing statement that I wanted to end with is, you know, we've talked about a lot of really challenging and vexing problems with theodicy. I think dealing with the problem of evil, dealing with the problem of pain, these are all very challenging problems. As I say in my last video, I think this is the best and most salient advice that I can offer to anyone who's kind of on the fringe of that atheism versus theism, which is kind of what the debate has mostly talked about today.
Right.
My suggestion is this. Change your focus and think about, is this universe purposeful? Does this universe exist for a purpose, or is it all random chaos? Because that was really the first step.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Because look, we're gonna live here and we're gonna die. It doesn't, you know. There's no
good
life.
point. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the chat, and I'm really grateful for everyone's contribution. I hope everyone
Yeah,
comes
man.
back on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for joining. And if anyone wants to be a guest on the channel or wants a little bit more of a focused conversation, I'm always happy to do that. Max, I'll respond to you about that. Wendy 3 definitely also. And if anyone wants to chat with me, you're all welcome. I'm happy to schedule like more of a 1v1 session. Doesn't even have to be a debate. It can be more of a discussion. And I'm really grateful to all of you. Thanks all of you for contributing to me having a really wonderful first year on YouTube. It's been a really great experience. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and good night. And I hope you all have a really wonderful night.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Yep.